University. Come for the music, stay for the community. Listen at 90.7 FM or at WFUV.org.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is One On One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show here on WFUV Sports. We're in the basement of Keating Hall on the beautiful Rose Hill campus of Fordham University. Today is June 6th, 2026. Another Saturday, another day in the office for us here at WFUV. Happy to be with you. I am Tucker Austin, joined by Grace McCarron, Alex Diaz. Sam Jean Grande is behind the board for us. Faris Amin is on video production. The voice Bobby C was somewhere around here. I think he's still back there. I don't know. Like, he'll be around. Trust. He's always around. But boy, we've got a great show for you today. The Knicks. Oh my goodness, the Knicks. I mean, like, New Yorkers everywhere stand up. The Knicks are up 2-0 in the NBA Finals against Wemby's Spurs. It could not be a better situation for them, so therefore it couldn't really be a better situation for me or for most of us.
Yeah.
I know Kurt Sipple is somewhere like crossing his arms and staring at his screen in anger
grumbling.
right now. Yeah. But also the Stanley Cup Final is active right now. That series is tied going to Vegas. We'll get into that later as well. But before we get into any of that, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Saturday in New York.
It is a great day.
You know, it's summer, and the Knicks are up 2-0 in the finals. Like, nothing. There's nothing. The Mets could have gotten, they won last night. The Mets could have gotten just beat 17-0 last night, would not have even cared because the Knicks are up 2-0 going back to MSG. I never thought this would happen. I was, when they clinched the spot in the finals, I was thinking either way, whoever comes out of the West, it's going to go 7 because that's two, like, powerhouses. You know, you got with the Thunder, you had SGA, a 2-time MVP now, and now you have the Spurs and Wemby, but the Knicks are up 2-0, and I don't even know how to. But next week in New York, I don't know if they're gonna sweep. I would love if they did, because I'm a little, if they don't sweep, I'm gonna start getting a little stressed. But next week in New York is gonna be great, and I'm so thankful to be in this beautiful city and get to watch what the Knicks do to the city, because everybody is just so happy. People are like walking down the street grinning like idiots because the Knicks are good. It's amazing.
Watching the clips online that people have been posting from like their balconies or their rooftops, just like of street level, and you can just hear the crowd pop. This is after individual games in the finals.
Right.
This isn't even for like winning the entire finals, but it sounds like they may have.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Alex, how you doing?
I'm having a
rough week for you.
A bit of a rough week.
In terms of the beat reporting, at least.
Yeah. 3 games. 3
I mean,
losses.
you did get to go to a lot of games.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
Yeah, but they only won the one game I wasn't at, so.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. Look, it's a great week to be a New Yorker. I think you basically said it. I mean, the Knicks are everything right now. I came back from a couple of games, and you got people like all huddled together on Metro, like watching games on phones. I would never see that happen. Like, that's not a thing to do. Now it is. Like Tucker, like you said, it's been a tough week for the Yankees. That's been a little rough for me, but today my day got better. I'm here with you guys, so.
There you go.
Aw.
Well, I mean, Grace, you brought up summer, so I think we should probably do it now. We
I
were talking
can't
before
wait.
the show. We were about to rank seasons against each other. That's summer, fall, winter, and spring, for those of you who aren't aware. But, I was saying I used to be a huge fan of winter and not of summer, but now I feel like I'm kind of switching up on that. And
It's because the Knicks are good.
You offered fall.
I like fall.
Fall is good. I like fall, like World Series in the fall.
Great time for
Right.
sports.
Start of college football, start of NFL
hockey.
football, start of hockey eventually
Right.
in October, and kind of the start of basketball a little bit if you want to count that like segment of November. I
Yeah.
mean, I think as long as it's still like pre-Thanksgiving, I would still consider it fall.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if it snows, I think it still like counts as fall. I don't know what day exactly winter starts. I think it's in December at some point, like
It's
the
like late
official first
December,
day
yeah.
of winter.
Yeah.
But
Before
yeah,
Christmas.
I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the sort of like the dog days of summer for baseball, at least. I
Like,
might be. I
yeah.
think I'm a baseball sicko.
Me too.
I
It's
like.
okay.
when there's no other sports going on and everyone else is forced to watch baseball, that
this is
puts
great.
that puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome everyone.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing else for you to watch, so we're gonna do this today.
Yeah.
I was doing this anyway.
Yeah. I think fall I didn't used to like fall, but I think fall's turned into my favorite season because the sports are great. As we were just laying out. Like every day there's something you could switch it. You could probably watch a different sport every single day.
That's
of the
all.
week.
It's
In
a
the fall.
sports equinox
Exactly.
range as well.
Right.
Exactly. My favorite day on the sports calendar is the very first Sunday of the NFL season because you always have baseball still going on. Sometimes the Mets are in the playoff race. Most of the time they're not, but that's okay. And then I'm a big tennis person, as we were just talking about. The U.S. Open men's final. I love the U.S. Open. So that's a great Sunday for me. I always struggle with what to watch, but usually I'll put on the Giants because they're my
Just got a
first
split
love.
Screen.
Split screen,
Yeah.
put something on like the computer. You
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do. But I think fall is probably my favorite. I like the weather. I like the
Yeah.
vibe. I like the pumpkin cream cold roast Starbucks. Like
Ooh.
really, that's
Yeah,
honestly half of it. That's my
the
favorite
fall,
beverage.
The fall themed like
I love pumpkin.
drinks and food items in general. I think
Yeah,
that's a
That's
good
the
shout.
best because spring.
You're not gonna find a pumpkin pie
There
around
you
most
go.
places right now, but
And-
you will in the fall.
And in the spring, if we just go back to Starbucks for a second, they have a lot of like lavender flavored drinks. I don't like that at all. That tastes
Yeah.
like hand soap, and I will not subscribe to that. I think fall is my favorite for a multitude of reasons. A big one is the pumpkin cream cold brew, but I also like winter. I love Christmas in New York, very classic. Usually by then, the Giants are not very good, but
Well,
that's
that
okay.
should turn
hopefully
around.
that changes.
Maybe
We'll get into it. That was a
this
good
year.
segue.
True.
Hopefully that'll change.
We'll get into that.
But yeah, I would say fall is probably my favorite, but I don't mind summer. Summer's fine, except when it gets to be like 95 degrees. I can't do that at all.
No spring enjoyers here.
I like spring, except I have allergies. I have to take allergy medicine every day.
Well, yeah, I have allergies too, but I've been dealing with them for like the better part of 2 decades.
Right.
So for me,
I
it's like
just
whatever.
have to
It's just
adapt.
kind of
I succumbed and I bought Allegra, and now
It
it's
comes with
actually
the
much
program.
better.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
my go-to is always Mucinex.
That too.
Yeah.
That's like for really bad
Well,
days.
mine were like
Yours were
bad pretty much
Mine were
every
just
day.
annoying.
Just like rip a Mucinex in the morning, and you're probably gonna be good the rest of the day.
What about
At
you,
least through like
Alex?
baseball practice.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I love the fall. I mean, especially being in the city in the fall is like peak.
That's
like,
another thing.
It's just great.
Foliage.
World Series, you can't top that. And of course, starting the NFL season. I'm also a big winter fan. I'm a
too.
really big like skiing person. So like
Ooh,
There you go.
that's
really?
kinda, I
Okay,
love
fire.
winter
Huh.
sports. Yeah. Like send me to Lake Placid. I'll be happy.
Wow.
There you go.
I'll be happy.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
You ever been to Mountain Creek? You ever been to the
Oh,
location
man.
formerly known as Action Park in Vernon, New Jersey, which is now a ski resort?
Yeah, the
Shout
most-
out Vernon.
The most dangerous place on the planet.
It used to be. It's very safe now, so they say.
Yeah, summer's a good time, but it gets real hot. I think we've kind of established it. But
I
baseball season's the best season.
I think my
so.
problem is just like with August in
Right.
particular. You said the dog days. Like I like the dog days of baseball
Yeah.
too. I just hate the weather in New York.
Well,
in
we could, like,
August is
turn it
truly
down a
bad.
bit.
Oh well, yeah.
Right.
Like in the city, it's bad. I'm
In
like,
the city, it's like a
I'm
heavy
sort of. I'm
heat.
imagining a different version of summer, just based on like where I actually live. Because like
Right.
I drove in
There you
today
go.
for this, and last night we like cracked all the windows and doors because it was
That's
like
nice.
Yeah.
50s ish
I
overnight.
the other day I was walking to the office at like 8:00 in the morning. It was a nice 60. It was a little breezy. I had a sweater on. I was like, this is the summer
That's the
I
summer
like.
you
And
want.
it's of course late May at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not really summer. Like
Sam-
summer
Right.
in like 2 weeks is gonna be bad.
Yeah. Sam, you said you wanted to jump in on this?
I do have one thing I wanted to say. This is like
I think it might be the other mic.
this one.
Yeah,
There
that's
we
the
go.
one.
I
There
always
you
mix
go.
them up. I was gonna say, to quickly chime in on it. When I was driving here today, the whole time I was driving, I was listening to Christmas music today. I don't know what it was.
Whoa. Christmas
Wow,
in
That's
June.
crazy.
Usually
I
they
just
wait till July.
I know. I
Canceled.
preloaded a whole Christmas playlist. A lot of Last Christmas, like Wonderful
that's
Christmas
too
time. I
much.
don't know what it was. It's
Wow.
Just like, it's like I really want to listen to Christmas music.
My
today.
All right.
favorite Christmas song is now that we're on this is a great topic. My favorite is Do They Know It's Christmas?
Oh my
by
God,
Band
that's
Aid.
so,
Oh, that
that's
is a
I
good
so
love
good.
that song.
It is.
I would
that's
listen
one
to
of the-
that in
That's one of
June.
the best Christmas songs of all
If
time.
we want to talk about out of season music, I'll randomly go on like an Irish music kick
There you
every
go.
now and then. It always
It's a
happens around St.
fantastic
Patrick's Day, but it'll always happen to me like randomly throughout the year.
I agree.
But either way, let me run down what we got for you this morning and then early afternoon on One on One. Of course, if you are listening on 90.7 live to tape later on tonight from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., please stay awake. I think you're definitely driving, and if you are, keep those eyes open. Keep them on the road.
Be safe. Hands at
Be
10 and
safe
2.
out there. But in the last hour between at around 1:30, we're going to be talking NFL because there's been a lot that's gone on, specifically with the Giants as well. We want to touch on everything that's been going on with Big Blue. We've also got some USA Soccer and World Cup hype later on in the show. We're going to have an interview that's been posted on our YouTube for about a week or so with between Brendan Shorey, recent graduate, and Tim Brown. So stay tuned for that one. We'll have some Mets and Yankees talk. And this hour, we're going to have Stanley Cup Finals conversation at the closer end of noon. And then NBA Finals is going to be our first segment after this break. We're also going to have a little game from Sam. Not quite trivia. It's a little bit different. Sam he came up with some stuff on a fever dream last night. But, yeah, on the other side of this first break, we're going to be talking the NBA Finals and the New York Knicks. Stay tuned on One on One.
I'm Kurt Sippel, telling you to tune into One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Catch us live every Saturday on our WFUV Sports YouTube Live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and later on 90.7 WFUV from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We break down the week's latest headlines with our collection of tri-state area beat reporters, along with interviews with your favorite athletes and media personalities. WFUV is your home to talk all things New York sports.
Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. It's time for our NBA Finals segment with the Knicks stealing both of the first two games of the series in San Antonio. They lead at 2-0, coming back to New York for Games 3 and 4 at MSG. Game 3 is on Monday, and Game 4 will be on Wednesday. But let's bring him in right now. Why not? We've got Colin Lochran, formerly of WFUV, currently an associate editor over at Clutch Points. He's been all over the Knicks all season and during this playoff run. Colin Lochran, how are you doing? It's good to hear from you.
I'm doing well. Not as good as Mike Brown probably is this morning, I can tell you that much. He's looking like a genius at the moment. New York is loving it. Walking around the city last night on my way home was like something I have never seen in my life, probably never will again. You have Wall Street Chad getting along with the rave crowd on the train home. 9 times out of 10, I'm watching this like, this is a problem waiting to happen. Yesterday, oh, this is beautiful. Everyone's in perfect harmony. That has to have something to do with the Knicks.
It has everything to do with the Knicks, I think. It's unbelievable. You even got you got the kids coming out, the youngsters just on the corners chanting "Let's go Knicks," making full use of that executive order from Mayor Zoran Mamdani to postpone kids' bedtimes until after the end of the finals run for the Knicks. Huge move by him. I think that's going a long way for the atmosphere as well.
Oh, 100%. That man's approval rating has shot up at least 50 points, if for no other reason than it just so happens he's in office when the Knicks are doing this well. Last night was incredible for multiple reasons, and you have to give flowers where they're due. And for me, last night was about one man, and that was Karl Anthony Towns. We can talk about Brunson. We can talk about Mike Brown. We're going to be talking about those guys for days, months, possibly now years to come legacy-wise. But really, last night was about Cat. You can't call Cat soft if he's the best defender on the floor. I think he came into this series with something to prove. Played excellently against Wembanyama last night.
Absolutely. In Game 1 and Game 2 for me, I thought Karl Anthony Towns was well beyond what I previously expected out of him, especially on the defensive end. Maybe still a little bit of a revolving door against guys who are smaller than him, but again, there's not much you can do about that. when it comes to guarding Wemby, this is a Karl Anthony Towns that I wasn't super sure that he actually had in him. I'm really happy to see him play that kind of defense, and really successfully shut down or at least prevent Wembanyama from completely taking over the game. That's been a huge part of it. I also think OG Anunoby's play in general has been really good. He's been consistent for the Knicks this whole time. But Colin, talk to me about these guys on the bench, because originally when I looked at the bench matchup between the Knicks and the Spurs, I was sort of leaning Spurs a little bit, but now having seen the recent form from the Eastern Conference playoffs absolutely carried over for guys like Landry Shamet, Jose Alvarado still finding way to make an impact, Miles McBride with some big shots late off the bench. All of those guys together are combining to really sort of outclass the Spurs bench a little bit.
27 points from the Knicks bench last night, and to me, the bench performing this well does indicate the difference between Tom Thibodeau and Mike Brown. That's not to say that Tibbs was a bad coach. I think he was an excellent coach, but I would put it to you this way, guys. The difference between Thibodeau and Brown is that one is like getting a business degree where you know you're going to end up with a 9-to-5. In other words, you have Thibodeau as your coach. Your team's going to play a certain level of defense. It's like a 9-to-5 job. You know that there's a definite floor and, likely a ceiling that's not going to exceed anyone's expectations. Mike Brown is like you had the lottery ticket and you kept playing for days on end, and it looked rough in the middle of January. But once you get the right combination of factors lined up, we don't know what the ceiling is. And we're finding that out now, that the ceiling might be, well, shoot, you're going to win a title, which is what this team wanted to accomplish. I don't know if they make that jump without hiring Mike Brown. I think his ability to get the most out of his bench, especially on offense, speaks to who he is as a coach. It speaks to why the change was made. Specifically, you look at a guy like Landry Shamet, who I critiqued heavily last year under Thibodeau. I was like, I think this guy is a net negative when he plays. Now Landry Shamet, 13 points last night, 5 of 12 from the field. They're letting him shoot from 3 with ease, 3 of 7 from range. I don't know if you get that version of Landry Shamet without Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's incredible that it's Brown's first season as the Knicks head coach. It's also the first season, or the first full season as a head coach for San Antonio's head coach as well. This is such an interesting matchup for me, based on not necessarily that nobody really thought that either of these teams could make the final, but I think it was definitely more of a long shot, especially if you go back to halfway through the season. You knew the Knicks would be back in the playoffs, but there wasn't much of a thought that they would go on this good of a run. That many 20-plus point victories in the Eastern Conference playoffs, a good come-from-behind win, which they've been known to do in Game 1, and then being able to hold a lead for the entirety of the second half, lose that lead in the fourth quarter, and still hold off the Spurs. To me, that's two very different kinds of wins, and the Knicks have proved that they could do both of those things. I think now, coming back to the Garden, it's almost a foregone conclusion. I think before this series started, I said it would probably go either 5 or 6. Now I'm in the realm of 4 or 5. Colin, where do you think this series goes, and maybe specifically for Game 3, and any predictions for how the Knicks come out in their first finals game at home in a very long time?
Yeah, I mean, I was not born the last time the Knicks played in the finals. This is the first time I'm ever seeing this, so this is quite interesting from that angle. I would say this much, Tucker. If the Knicks win Game 3, and I tend to think they're going to win Game 3 from the vantage point of the Garden will be going ballistic. The Knicks have a mature team, while the Spurs have a relatively younger team with guys who are inexperienced, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just think when you introduce that dynamic into an environment like MSG in its first finals since 1999, it's going to show how experienced the Knicks are. So if the Knicks win Game 3, and I suspect they will, by the time we get to Game 4, I think you get the desperation of all desperation games from Wembanyama. I don't know if that's going to be enough. So my prediction would be if the Knicks are able to win Game 3, and every indication shows you they probably will, we could be looking at a sweep, which heading into the series, I did not think was going to happen. I thought this would be a 6-game series. I did think the Knicks would find a way to win, but I also thought because of the series San Antonio just played against OKC, they were well equipped to play the Knicks. They had the emotional maturity to play an experienced team like this. That has not proven to be true thus far. And all you have to do is look back at the tape after these games. Wembanyama has been very quick to be talking about, well, you know, in so many words, it's not really them, it's us. That's exactly what the Cavs are saying still. Kenny Atkinson still thinks they won game 1 and 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The difference is he's watching the finals from his couch now. At a certain point, you have to acknowledge the Knicks are just really good. And until you acknowledge that, I don't know if you can beat the Knicks. Boston Celtics did the same thing last postseason a year ago. They kept saying, it's not really about how good the Knicks are. Like, yeah, they're a nice team. They're fun, they're gritty, you know, they're spunky. But it's really about us. We got to play our brand of basketball. Until someone takes the Knicks seriously, I don't think they're beating the Knicks.
Yeah, analytically, the Cavs are up 2-0 in the finals right now. So I mean, that's that's all you need to know. But yeah, Colin, before we let you go, Grace, Alex, do you guys have anything for Mr. Lochran?
I'm trying to what has been like what player besides we'll take Brunson out of it because he's obviously had some crazy fourth quarters. What player do you think has been the biggest difference maker in these first 2 games for the Knicks?
I'd have to say it's Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, 100%.
I just think he entered this series with a very specific chip on his shoulder. I think you could say the same of the entire postseason for him. You know, these guys are smart. They hear the noise. They hear the narrative surrounding their play. To me, Cat stands out as a guy who felt like, okay, I'm going to be going up against Wembanyama. Everyone is going to be giving Wembanyama an edge because of his height, his athleticism, things like that. Well, guess what? I'm going to beat him with physicality and will. And so far, he's done that with flying colors, and no man deserves his flowers more than Cat so far in my eyes. And if he does happen to continue playing this way and wins Finals MVP, we're looking at that trade with Randall and DiVincenzo through completely new eyes.
Yeah, I'd say I would be. Originally, I was not a fan of that trade. I really liked Dante DiVincenzo, and I knew Julius Randle had like really good scoring in him, but it was kind of a situation where initially when I didn't believe in Karl Anthony Towns' defense as much, I kind of saw Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle as relatively similar players minus the 3-point that Karl Anthony Towns has, but honestly, Cat has moved away from that 3-pointer a little bit in his time with the Knicks, and he has now progressed more towards a defensive footing, and that has made him an insanely more valuable player. Like, when you look at the difference between now Karl Anthony Towns and the version of Julius Randle that the Knicks traded when they got Karl Anthony Towns, it definitely looks more like the Knicks won that trade now. Still really miss Dante DiVincenzo, though. I hope they bring him back.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think there's a large section of Knicks fans that still miss Dante, but I wonder how much they'll miss him if they're celebrating the championship in a week's time.
All right. Colin Lochran, thank you so much for joining us today and talking a little bit of Knicks basketball with us. Go New York, go New York, go.
Always. Great time to be a New Yorker. Talk to you guys soon.
And thanks to Colin for that first call-in of the day. I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything that I wanted to talk about from this series. Cat's defense, putting the spotlight on other guys that aren't Jalen Brunson. And I mean, I was talking about it before the show. I didn't think Jalen Brunson played necessarily well for the entirety of the first 2 games of this series, but he played well when it mattered. He played well in the fourth quarter. He knocked down the, I would argue, insane clutch shots at this point, because we're talking about like one-footed fadeaways. He looked like Dirk Nowitzki last night.
Yeah.
I think he picked it up in Dallas. That's the only place he could have picked that up, is from Dirk himself.
Yeah.
But you got this short guard who's fading away on people like he's like 6'5".
Right.
It's unbelievable.
It's so interesting how he had said after game 1, oh, I didn't have a good game. Of course, nobody is going to remember whatever happened at the beginning of game 1 with Jalen Brunson, because he was so good, and he really turned it around.
There was a good 10
fourth
minutes
quarter
where I thought the series was over, because I thought Brunson was just going to be playing injured the rest of the time.
Right, exactly. I came into the living room. My parents had the game on. They're like, Jalen's hurt. And I'm like, it's over. I'm done. I'm quitting the sport of basketball. And then he comes back. He's like, I'm fine. I'll be all right. And he goes on demon mode again. So that's what we're looking at here. The only thing that could plausibly stop him in the fourth quarter is, I don't even know. I mean, like something physical.
I'm not sure if anything can actually stop him unless he actually gets put on the floor.
Right.
By somebody, like if somebody tries to run him over, which someone did try to run him over last night. I completely forget who it was.
It was De'Aaron Fox, right?
Was it De'Aaron Fox?
He got in.
Oh
Jalen's
no, it was
face. Oh no, that was someone
It was
else.
Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett stepped up and almost ran him over, and that's funny in game 2 because in game 1, after the initial knee issue, because I think it was Wembanyama who fell and then kind of fell backwards like into Jalen's knee a little bit, and then it kind of buckled. But then later on in game 1, Luke Cornett came down and like stepped on Jalen Brunson's ankle by accident.
Like, oh
but
God,
still, that was like
again.
the knee issue, and then he had the ankle, and he was limping all over the place. But then by the fourth quarter, he looked fine.
Yeah.
But even still, like initially after that injury, he was like walking a little gingerly and kind of was like a traffic cone on defense because he's hurting a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, now I have the pleasure of bringing in another caller for us. We have Chris Persianen, a Knicks beat reporter. He has been more attached to the Knicks, I would dare say, than Lochran that we just had on. But KP, Chris Persianen, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to One on One. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, folks? Thanks for having me. Definitely a time of year right now with all this going on. So, yeah, hello.
Yeah, a lot of things going on at once. Things going very well in New York in terms of the basketball. Not so hot on the baseball side of things, but that's why the Knicks are here. The Knicks are here to help us forget about the nonsense that's going on outside. But let's talk about this Game 2 that went down last night. The Knicks, a very different kind of win from Game 1, as we were just talking about with Colin Lochran. In Game 1, the Knicks had to make one of those, now I would say, signature comebacks that they've started making in this season. But last night, they led for a majority of the second half up until that fourth quarter. Spurs went on a run. They eventually took the lead, and then it was a battle back and forth down the stretch where the Knicks were able to hold off the Spurs because of what I would call at the end of the day, youthful mistakes from the Spurs and from specifically Wemby. But what did you see last night in the Knicks Game 2 win?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like you said, really great that winning teams like the Mets and Rangers sacrificed these big seasons that they were about to have so that the Knicks could pull this off. That was very cool of them. We'll see, Gino, Odell, got some 2015 vibes coming back. I think those guys are going to be sacrificing as well, even if they don't know it yet. But you nailed it when you said youthful mistakes. One of my angles going into this series was Mikal Bridges is going to have to be the player in this series that capitalizes off of the flaws that the Spurs can't control. Brunson can't control his height. They can do things to make that hard on him. The Spurs can't control their youth. No matter how hard they try, they still can't, rent a car, most of them. That isn't bad. That doesn't mean they need to retire. That doesn't mean that they need to, hang their heads in shame. But it means that right now they're probably going to learn the lesson that they look back in a couple of years and go, man, it changed my career when I learned that lesson. This is that first. Forgive me here. I know a bunch of people don't drive, so I'm hoping this isn't relatable to New York Cityers or many of them. It's like that first car accident you get into, where it's like everyone tells you it's bad to get in a car accident. It's bad to get in a car accident. But until you actually are on that phone a little too much and you bump into someone at 6 miles an hour, flag on the play, whatever it is that happens, that no matter how many times people tried to save you, that's going to be what teaches you, I really do need to lock in at these traffic lights. I'm not going to get around this. So for the young Spurs guards, Castle, Harper, this was going to be a big thing for them. What I did not see coming was the young Spurs guards being so used to Wemby filling in as a guard that they didn't even turn around to see if he was going to outlet them the ball. So, in my opinion, I can't even blame Castle for not turning around, because if he's not used to getting the ball then, he's not used to getting the ball. So Wemby came out and said it himself. He said, I came out and threw the game away. That was mature of him, and definitely much more recognizant than his comments from after game one, in which he effectively said, yeah, I don't know, the score says what it says, but they kind of stink, and I think we're awesome still. So, that vibe changed. We'll see if that's enough for them, because I can tell you something. If the Knicks can win 2 games on the road in San Antonio in one of the crazier fan environments that existed all season, I feel like it's maybe not out of the question for the Spurs to come to MSG and catch the Knicks off guard. Do I think it will happen? No. At this point, I think the Knicks probably sweep this series, because they're doing to the Spurs what they've done to everyone else, beat them into hopeless submission. But the door is still open, and the Knicks of past would leave that door open and hope no one strolls in. These Knicks are going to close it, lock it, put the alarm on, and then not feed the dog. Make sure that he's extra hungry guarding that door.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have done an unbelievable job of closing games this season compared to seasons in the last 5 years. Their closing has gotten so much better this year. But I love that take, because I think Wemby is due for a nuclear takeover of a game soon, probably a 40 bomb. It would not surprise me if he dropped 40 in Madison Square Garden and carried the Spurs to a win in the Garden. That's why I think the series will probably go 5, and I think it can go 5 because the Knicks are 6-3 on the road this year in the postseason, and that is a really, really good mark. Just to how it's a good mark to the Knicks' mindset. They don't really let outside noise get in a lot, especially in a building as loud as San Antonio. But I mean, if you were watching the game last night, from the end of the second quarter to the middle of the fourth quarter, that was a quiet building. There was not a lot of noise going on in there up until the Spurs went on that 14-point run or whatever it was in the fourth quarter to take the lead. That's when the building kind of reawoke. And, Mike Breen mentioned it, this building has come alive out of nowhere, but then, the Knicks found a way to close it down. And with that mistake at the end, there's bound to be accountability there. I just think I agree with you, Chris. I think it may have been a game too late to start taking accountability for mistakes.
Yes.
This is the NBA Finals. We got to be on ourselves and pushing ourselves to not make those kinds of mistakes.
100%. If you let me butt in quick,
yeah.
I'll turn even to Grace for a second, who knows very well in the baseball world. Over the course of a 160 million game regular season, it makes a little more sense to throw out quotes like, this series analytically we've won 2 of the games. I don't know. Would you be losing your mind if a baseball manager said what Kenny Atkinson said, or if a baseball superstar said what Wemby had been saying, given how many games there are, given how much time there is to correct those mistakes? I feel like that wouldn't be as crazy. I don't know.
No, I agree. I would say, even you see, Carlos Mendoza saying, they're just getting unlucky this year, with Bo Bichette, who's just not been the hitter that we thought he was going to be for the Mets. He said, there's been he's just been unlucky sometimes. He hits balls hard.
Yeah,
the center fielder grabs them. It happens. So I get that, yeah.
Spurs, they create their own lack of luck sometimes.
Yeah.
But I look back to the Cavaliers series. I think it was Fred Katz, that nerd, tracked down all of their three-point misses. And it was something like 60% of the Cavs' missed three-pointers were short. So to me, that sounds a lot like a team coming off a grueling 7-game series playing against a team that isn't.
Yeah.
The Knicks made a lot of their open threes. So I think you're seeing that again here in the finals, y'all. The Spurs, I know everyone, the sports radio thing is to talk about the tears and the celebration when they beat the Thunder. I just, let's ignore all that. Let's pretend none of them cried, right? Even then, when you spend all season thinking this is our real test, you're automatically going to underestimate your next opponent. And I think the vibes of, yes, they're playing well, sure. I don't know. I can't see that being something Wemby repeats going forward. He's learning a lot early on. It's year 3 of his career. He's proving a lot of narratives wrong. I do think, and this is, it's funny because I'm 24 years old, so for me to sound old and jaded already is probably not a great sign for you guys entering this industry on purpose. But basically, I do think he will learn. I do think he will learn to kind of keep his mouth quiet and let his play do the talking. Because I'll tell you something, you don't have to explain who the better team is after game 1 if the Spurs won.
Yeah.
You would just be that's kind of how that works.
Yep. That's the perfect way to put it. So, I mean, between you and Lochran, it really sounds like Knicks in 4, quite possibly 5, but more than likely 4, barring a Wemby takeover. But KP, thank you so much for taking the time, dude. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great chat, and I'll make sure that Colin doesn't forget. We'll put it this way: that you guys brought him in for like the 7th stretch or whatever, but then when it was time to really get down to business, you brought in the closer.
Yeah, he was our opener.
David Peterson, he's a good person.
There you go.
Chris Persianen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I'm going to get to one more caller before we go to another break. Our very own Ethan Bess is on the line. Ethan, what do you have for us? If you're hopefully there yet. Got Ethan Bess. Sam? Is he there? It's okay if he's not. Oh. Ethan, you got us? Maybe not. All right, well, in that case, very dense Knicks segment there. The New York Knicks lead the San Antonio Spurs 2-0 in the 2026 National Basketball Association Finals. Oh, my goodness.
Incredible words.
I cannot believe it. Game 3 on Monday, Game 4 on Wednesday, both at the Garden. POTUS will be in attendance on Monday. That should be a near impossible game to get into by either ticket price or just based on the amount of security that's going to be there. Zoran Mamdani is going to be there as well. I'm sure literally every celebrity ever will be at games 3 and 4. Think about it. We haven't seen this high leverage of a game at Madison Square Garden in our lives.
Never.
Right.
So this celebrity row is about to be ballistic.
Incredible. Cannot wait to be on the streets of New York on Monday, to be honest.
But either way,
amazing.
On the other side of this break, we're going to be talking Stanley Cup Finals, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to One on One on WFUV Sports.
Hello everyone, I'm Trey Rodriguez, calling you to tune in to WFUV Sports One On One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. We're live every Saturday on YouTube from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and later at night on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We cover the latest news in the sports world with our wide range of beat reporters, as well as exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes. We'll see you next Saturday on One On One.
Hey, what's up? It's Owen Kelty, one of WFUV Sports' New York Knicks beat reporters. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks look to dominate the East and bring a championship back to New York. Keep up all season long on my X account at Owen Kelty for all the highs and lows of New York Knicks basketball. WFUV Sports is your home for all things Knicks.
Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. I'm Tucker Austin with Grace McCarron, Alex Diaz. We got Sam Jean-Grande back there behind the glass and Faris Amin on our video production today for YouTube. If you want to call in and join the conversation, of course, you got to be watching live on YouTube, because if you're listening from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., I hope no one answers the phone, because that would mean someone is in here but during those times. So either way, 718-817-2750 if you want to join the conversation. We're talking Stanley Cup Finals now. We've got a tied series for Lord Stanley, one apiece after 2 games in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Golden Knights won Game 1 and took a lead after 2 periods. They were up 2-0 in Game 2, but then 3 unanswered goals. That was Thursday night. 3 unanswered goals for the Carolina Hurricanes. A late please save me goal from Mark Stone to send it to overtime. But then a tripping in overtime caused a penalty, and a power play for Carolina on the man advantage. Seth Jarvis scored to give them the win and send the series tied back to Vegas. But really quickly, we're going to get to Ethan Best now. We had him at the end of the Knicks segment. I assume he's still here to talk New York Knicks, so maybe just a couple more minutes of that with Ethan Best on the line. WFUV Zone. Ethan, how you doing?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, finally. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just actually woke up a few minutes ago, and I wanted to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about the Knicks first, then I'll get to the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
first,
awesome.
About the New York Knicks. I literally do not think that the city of New York has seen this much euphoria since, maybe 1999, because, of course, that was the last time the New York Knicks were in the finals. Of course, they lost to the Spurs in 5 games, but this time I honestly think might be a different story. Let's not also forget that the vast majority of foul calls were going to the San Antonio Spurs, and still, despite the refs swallowing their whistles, they did find a way to pull out the win in Game 2. So in the case of the Spurs losing 2 games at home and the the likelihood of the Knicks possibly sweeping this series, we should also take into account that the Knicks have also won 13 straight postseason games. Only one other time in the NBA playoffs has that happened. That happened in 2017 with the Golden State Warriors, and of course they won the NBA title. And it's now happened with the New York Knicks, and they haven't lost a game in a month. So who's to say what the trajectory of the rest of this series is going to go? In fact, I posted something funny about the Knicks winning, and it's a Shannon Sharp-esque type of statement. But I said, my mayor's Muslim, my bagel's Jewish, my Christian Dior, Knicks in 4.
Yep. That's the one. I've been seeing that all over the place. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for the Spurs to dig themselves out of this hole, especially coming to New York for the next 2 games. And the way the Knicks have been kind of, even when they get behind, they'll even get behind by double digits, and it doesn't matter. They have a way to come back.
You know, not to cut anybody off, but I remember watching that game. Every time the Spurs tried to get something going, it's like the Knicks were literally standing there like a brick wall to, I can't say it on air, but to quote that famous Dave Chappelle meme, gotcha. So, I really think that if the Knicks continue to just play the way that they've been playing and continue to throw brick walls at the sight of a massive car trying to machine gun it down the street, then I think that this series could be over a lot quicker than one expected. In fact, I'm going to be in New York next week, so I'll get a chance to feel the fever for itself. Just for anybody listening and for you guys, I'm calling from Texas right now.
Whoa, hey now. But that'll be fun next week when you're in the city. I mean, everybody who's already called on the show today said how different it feels and how crazy it is to have the city feel so unified when sports usually tends to tear this city apart on fault lines of fan bases. And yes, there are the Knicks and the Nets in New York City, but a vast majority of New Yorkers, I would say, not to say that the Nets don't have fans, because they do, for the sake of Kurt Sipple, the Nets do fill their arena every year. They do get good attendance numbers. There are net fans in existence, but I think the vast majority of New York City is orange and blue, and we saw that in the skyline when they won those two games too. But Ethan, what do you have for us for the Stanley Cup final? We got a 1-1 series going to Vegas, probably as hard, if not a harder place to play than Raleigh, North Carolina has been in the past few years. And Vegas, after winning Game 1, drops Game 2 in overtime, but now gets a pair of games at home.
You know, to be honest, I've been to both hockey arenas. I've been to Lenovo Center and I've been to T-Mobile Arena, and I will unequivocally say that T-Mobile Arena is the harder arena to play in. Sure, I understand that Lenovo Center is one of the loudest arenas in the NHL, but you can just go to the Vegas faithful and see how passionate they are about the Golden Knights. And in my opinion, it doesn't even match I don't think Hurricanes fans could match it. Now, to get to both games, the first game, I honestly thought after the Hurricanes opened it up with a goal 25 seconds in, I thought this series was going to go straight to Carolina's way, because that was almost like a Mike Tyson fight getting knocked out in the first round. But the Golden Knights still found a way to pull it out in Game 1. And then the Mark Stone tying goal at the end of Game 2, I thought that maybe that might have, been the fuel to push Vegas over the edge. But then, of course, overtime happened, and the Hurricanes pull it out in overtime. So going back to Vegas, I think that it's going to be a split, just like it was in Raleigh. But I think that although Jack Eichel has been a little bit quiet, I think that they'll probably find a way to, at least pull it out in, let's say, Game 3 or Game 4, might have like 2 goals and an assist or something like that. But I think in the long run, it will probably be Vegas in 6. I just think that ever since they downed the not the Commissioner's Trophy, this isn't baseball, the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, which I actually called, by the way, just because that President's Trophy curse is still strong.
Yep.
But ever since the Golden Knights downed the Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals, I just think that the Golden Knights have the energy that they need to win the Stanley Cup. So I say Vegas in 6, but that's open for debate or discussion.
I love that. Ethan, thank you so much. We're going to let you go, but really appreciate the thoughts on the Knicks and the hockey, of course. Always appreciate a little hockey take.
Of course. You guys have a great day.
You too. I got to say, he makes some compelling points.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the the amount of momentum that Vegas probably gathered from beating the Avs. I thought the Avs would go the distance. President's Trophy be damned.
Yeah.
I really thought they had enough to kind of shake that off, but clearly that curse is still very active. If you want to win the Stanley Cup, please do not win the regular season. Please. Just avoid it at all costs. I think I should also mention, I haven't been to either the Lenovo Center or T-Mobile, so I will take Ethan's word for it. And, I mean, you were saying earlier, Grace, that you think T-Mobile's atmosphere is,
Yes.
one of the best, if not the best, in hockey. I think I'm just a little biased. Being a Devils fan, I hate the Lenovo Center with every inch of my body.
I don't
and
love
the
it.
Devils haven't won a game there since 2018, I think. At least they hadn't scored in the first period there since 2018 or something like that, but I don't think any of those games were wins. So, yeah, Carolina is the bane of the Devils' existence, but in Game 1 it didn't matter for Vegas, and in part of Game 2 it didn't matter for Vegas either. So I like the Vegas pick. I think I'm probably also leaning Golden Knights a little bit right now. Definitely was after Game 1, but I think with the Canes down 2-0 in Game 2, that was the point when I really thought that, like, okay, they're fully out of gas now.
Yeah.
Because this happens every year with Carolina, except usually it happens earlier.
Mhm.
Well, they'll get to the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, or they'll go to the ECF and then just completely run out of steam and kind of fizzle out.
Yeah.
And it was a 1-goal first period, a 1-goal second period in Game 2, and they were both Howden, weren't they?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
there.
Brett Howden scored in the first period unanswered and scored in the second period unanswered to give Vegas a 2-0 lead going into the third. And then 3 unanswered goals out of literally nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's like the entire life of the team's run breathed into a single period.
Yeah.
Can they do it again? Can they do it in Vegas? I am not sure. But it's going to be as critical a Game 3 as there ever was. Even though the series is tied, whoever gets that leg up, especially with another game in Vegas, is probably going to run away with this one.
My thing with Carolina is coming into this series, they lost 1 game this playoffs, which, some people might think, oh, that's a good thing. They put teams away. They'll be extra rested. They won't have had to play extra games.
In the Knicks case, this was true.
It's working for the Knicks. Now, hockey's obviously a very different thing, but the Canes haven't really seen much adversity as opposed to Vegas, who went to 6 games in their first 2 series against Utah and Anaheim, and then they swept Colorado. I still don't have an explanation for that one, but I think there's something to be said for they're facing their biggest obstacle right now in Vegas. They haven't really seen a team like Vegas. But on the other hand, I was looking at the NHL standings the other day, and I found something really devastating for me personally. The Golden Knights won fewer games than the New York Islanders.
Oh yeah, they had fewer points than the New Jersey Devils.
Right. So
And they're in the final.
I just don't really understand how that happened. But I guess I'm picking the Golden Knights. I don't even know.
This is the loser point.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the loser point. The Islanders were on the beneficent side of this.
Exactly. And yet this year what happened?
This year they were not.
Exactly.
This year the Devils did not lose a lot of games in overtime. They would just lose in regulation like normal teams do.
Right. But that's all to say. I mean, as we were talking about Brett Howden earlier, the guy's been just going ballistic, leading all skaters in the series, 3 goals, 4 points. And he's on the same line as Mitch Marner, who has had a fantastic playoffs. And he's not, like, Mitch Marner's not, we've heard from him in this series, but it's not Brett Howden level, weirdly enough.
And heard from him is 3 assists.
Right, like heard from him,
hearing from
there.
Mitch Marner is like he scores.
Yeah.
This is like...
He's had a whisper.
Mitch Marner left a note in his locker because that says, I was here.
Yeah. But on the flip side, Carolina has managed, as I think Ethan was talking about, they've managed to shut down Jack Eichel in a way that I wasn't really expecting. But Brett Howden has seemingly made up for that. So I guess I'm going to go Golden Knights just because of this tear that they're on right now. Like, there was a universe where they won game 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't happen. Overtime is a completely separate thing, but I guess I'm going to go, I really don't want to say this, but I guess I'm going to go Vegas in probably 7. I think it's still going to go to 7.
Yeah, I think I'll round it out with you guys. I think the key to game 2 is the fact that Vegas played with 5 defensive men for over 50 minutes after Braden McNabb left in that first period. I think that kind of leads to the scoring in the third eventually in overtime, because you're kind of putting more pressure on the 5 of them to kind of take control.
And it wears eventually, especially with him coming out so early.
Yeah.
Like the wear and tear of a full game running short a guy, short one more guy than usual. It definitely plays in.
He plays in on the offensive side too, because I think the game before was 3 assists or something like that.
Yep.
So I think that's something that can change. There hasn't really been an update on him other than he went back to Vegas with the team. I'm assuming he's playing tonight. I mean, he's a hockey player. I would think he's playing tonight. But
hockey players play.
Are you hurt or are you injured?
Right.
Face shield, get on out there. But no, I agree. I think this game probably goes, I'm gonna say to 6. I think they split in Vegas.
Oh, there you go.
It could be a hot take. I think Carolina kind of comes in with a little bit more fire.
I don't hate that.
Going into
Yeah, I
game
like
3
it.
tonight.
Especially because the Hurricanes kind of proved to themselves that they
Right.
can win,
Yeah.
like last night or 2 nights ago. Interesting that you brought up McNabb, because I did want to bring up the fact that in game 1 where Vegas won, they got 3 points out of him and 3 points out of Shea Theodore, who
Yeah.
scored and
Oh,
had
yeah.
2 assists. But then you go to game 2, and Noah Hannafin had an assist, and that's where the scoring ends out of the defenseman. So, not to say that Vegas necessarily needs to rely on their defensemen to score, but it definitely helped them in game 1 where they only won by a goal. So, they look a little bit more vulnerable than I think we would have expected them to look.
Yeah.
A lot will become better known to us tonight at 8 p.m. As of the recording of this. I mean, if you're listening from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m.,
You'll know what happens.
it might be over. It might be in double overtime.
You never know.
Who knows?
That's hockey.
Crazier things have happened in the Stanley Cup final, but it's a 1-1 series going to Vegas, the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights for the right to lift Lord Stanley. But that is going to send us to another break. On the other side of this one, we're going to get to some of America's pastime. It's the segments we've all been waiting for. We're going to start with the Yankees and then go to the Mets. But on the other side of this break, we've got the Bronx Bombers. You're listening to One on One.
It's WFUV New York, fostering community with public media from Fordham University. On air, online, and always commercial-free.
Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Tucker Austin, Grace McCarron, Alex Diaz with you, heading just about into hour 2. Not quite there yet, but we're about to get there, and we'll cross over during this next segment. If you want to join the conversation, though, if you're listening live on YouTube, you can call in at 718-817-2750. That's 718-817-2750. Jump into the conversation. Give us your sports takes or generally relative sports takes to the topic that we're on. That would be appreciated, but really, we'll talk about whatever. We have fun here.
We do.
We like to have a little bit of fun
here.
We're very carefree. You know who is also playing carefree right now is the New York Yankees,
Oh,
but they should
great
probably
segue.
care a little more because it is almost, I would say, you know what? I would say we're possibly in panic mode on June 6th. Couple days ago, El Capitan, Aaron Judge, was removed from the lineup reportedly for a bone spur. So that was odd. And he missed that game. And nobody really thought that much of it. Then he missed the next game, and they said it was still a bone spur. But then Aaron Boone also said that we're going to go get some imaging on him to see what we're working with. seemingly they didn't know what they were working with initially. That's at least what I get and what I think most people would get from that kind of a statement. So then he went to get imaging. And now he's 4-6. So, yeah. Judge is out for 4 to 6 weeks, and that's not even to start rehab. That's to get re-imaged for a stress fracture in a rib on the right side of his body. I think a lower right rib. I don't know the number on it off the top of my head, but it's a rib down low, and I think, at least according to Aaron Judge, he traces it back to a play in Houston earlier this year where he kind of had to lay out to avoid Jazz Chisholm a little bit. Chisholm made the catch, but Judge had to hit the deck to get out of the way, and clearly that must have done something. And I'm even more concerned because when he missed that first game for the quote-unquote bone spur, Judge said that it had been affecting his swing, and he had been dealing with it for weeks. Which I guess explains the reason why Aaron Judge was slumping for the past month or so. But now knowing that it's not a bone spur makes me even more concerned.
Yeah.
Because A, how did they not know, or if they probably just knew and decided to not tell anyone or to tell everyone something that it wasn't. I'm not 100% sure, but the Yankees have been known to do this in with information control. Either way now, the Yankees are going to be without Judge for the month of June at least, I would say, possibly for half of July. I think he'll miss the All-Star game. We were talking about it before the show. I guess we can start there. When do we think he comes back? Grace, he's on your fantasy team.
Oh my God, this is catastrophic. Not to make it about me.
I think you said you said you think he's done for the year.
I would not be surprised if this is the kind of thing that 4 to 6 weeks go by, which takes us to July, whatever, early July.
Well, perfect world. It's July 1st, maybe June 30th, maybe. That's in the 6-week world, we're talking All-Star game.
And that is best case scenario is early July.
Yeah,
that's still a month. It's June 6th.
Yep.
We talked about how he had been playing through some discomfort. Now we learned that it's a stress fracture in his rib. Stress fracture, obviously, name as you would guess, caused by stress. So playing through it, I would imagine, I'm not a doctor, but I would imagine makes it worse. Yeah. So if he's, he is shut down from baseball for 4 to 6 weeks. Then he's getting reimaged, and then he has to ramp back up. We're getting closer and closer by that timeline to August. And then we're into September. If that doesn't even go right, you never know. You never know how much rehab he's going to need. I wonder if they are downplaying the situation. Teams are known to do it. They are already doing it this week.
Teams are known, but the Yankees are
they're pretty good
nationally famous for doing this.
They're the president of downplaying.
Think about Giancarlo Stanton, who went down with an injury earlier. He went down with tennis elbow, 3 or 4 weeks into the season.
Haven't heard.
I haven't seen him since.
He ran in the outfield the other day.
It has been He did? Okay, Alex has seen him. So we got proof of life.
Yeah, it was the calf strain
from Alex.
But he's still 2 to 3
Oh, right.
weeks
You
out.
still had that too.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if this is even worse than they're telling us, because when I read the other night that he was consulting with a thoracic outlet syndrome specialist, I was like, I've always been fascinated by that. Because, Matt Harvey was wrecked by thoracic outlet, which was very sad. I loved Matt Harvey. Zach Wheeler got the surgery last season, and now he's having a very good year this year, so it doesn't necessarily blow up everyone's career. It's not something you want to deal with. Because it's so mysterious, it's so murky, there's not a lot known, there's no, easy path. It's not like Tommy John is, so many people get it now. We seem to have ruled that out. We seem to have ruled out thoracic outlet for Judge. I guess it's not season ending. I would be surprised.
The Yankees have said that they expect him to come back this season, but that
doesn't
is
really tell us anything.
Wildly vague.
That also could be if they are thinking, "Oh, we're going to make the playoffs, so he could come back in October." Which, okay, fine. They probably. I think they.
It'd be at a DH capacity.
They have to DH him. Do not let him play the field after breaking a rib. I don't know. I would not be stunned if this is even worse than we think it is, just because it was so murky earlier this week. Now, admittedly, when he sat for Tuesday's game after the Monday day off, that raised a few alarms. I was like, that's kind of weird. They don't usually do that with him. Obviously, he's their best player by quite a mile. Then the next day, he's out of the lineup, and then there's something wrong. Like, that's where it's like, oh, there's something wrong.
And he
with
wasn't
him.
even at the stadium. Like,
Wasn't
those
even
3 days
there.
wasn't even there.
Aaron Boone was like, oh, his rib, something with his, side. Nobody knows what's happening.
There's something going on.
There's something wrong. It's not, obviously it's not obvious, like he broke his finger or something. That's something is wrong, but like there's apparently something wrong. And you were saying he's been slumping. Like, I don't know. This is obviously really terrible for baseball as a sport because Aaron Judge is really awesome. Even if he hasn't been as great this season, probably because of the rib.
Right.
So.
And he's been healthy for so many All-Star games in a row now, seemingly, that it's like now he's more than likely going to miss it, I would say.
I don't think there's any reason.
Mid-July, like,
let him play.
he would be starting a rehab assignment around the time that the All-Star game is actually played. So I'm sure he'll get voted, but
I don't even know if
I wonder if he even goes. He probably will.
He
Like,
might,
Major League
but-
Baseball will ask him to go and be like, oh, okay, can you at least, like, show
Just
your
stand
face
there.
there so that we can, like, have that,
Yeah.
do some content or something? Like, I don't know.
But, like, just knowing how, and this is not just the Yankees, but as you said, Tuck, they are very good at doing this. Like, something nagging at me is like, this might be even worse than they're saying.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think when I kind of initially thought, I was kind of thinking September because I don't believe that 4 to 6 weeks they'll reimage and there's not going to be something else happening just because that feels like the way things go with the Yankees. And then you got to assume his rehab stint's going to be probably a week and a half.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be just come back. Whereas
Tuck's not loving
But
this.
the thing I have to say is that I think a lot of Yankee fans have freaked out about this. The fact that you're losing Judge in the lineup. But the past month, he's been doing nothing in the lineup. So, like, it's not really... It's been impacting the team negatively anyway.
It's more about the presence.
Right,
Like,
that too.
the home runs kind of
Right,
went
but
away
it could
because
be-
of the injury.
Yeah.
But
It could be a similar situation, though, that not having Garrett Cole last year, but his presence in the dugout still has an impact. I mean, our starting pitching last year was like a direct correspondent to that. But I've been digging. The Yankees in 2019, the team that won 103 games, didn't have Judge for 60 games in the season.
Yep.
They still wound up being one of the best in the AL East, or in the AL. I think that their lineup is better than the 2019 Yankees, and I think that there's a chance that even without Judge there, they're still able to put on a performance or still able to get to October. I mean, it's tough to talk about. You don't want to see it happen, but
They
it's
also,
part of the game.
I think we've talked about this a little bit. The American League as a whole is so not interesting.
No, it's so not interesting.
Their only real, when Aaron Judge was still healthy, their only real competition for that American League title, in my opinion, was the Rays.
Yeah.
The other, like the AL Central doesn't move me. The Guardians are not really a problem for the Yankees ever. Except,
we
well,
just
this
lost
week.
2.
I meant in the playoffs, but yes, good call. The AL West is just very weird.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of, I think it was, like, they should have gone to the World Series,
Right.
and you don't really know. Like, Aaron Judge is a big reason why they went to the World Series in 2024. Now you don't have that. Stanton is still, who knows what's happening there.
Right.
I don't.
he might be back eventually. I don't even know.
We're just going to
Like,
have 10 DHs when he comes back.
I don't think
There you
he's
go.
ever. Yeah, that's like the
Because
biggest
where's Paul
issue.
Goldschmidt
DH per
going?
inning. They just
Paul
run-
Goldschmidt
they
is
just
playing too
circle
well.
him.
Yeah, like to try and bring it back to like the state of the Yankees now. Well, it's not great. After the end of May, they took 2 in Sacramento. That was the last series that Judge played in, and it was also where the pain in his back got to a point where he actually could not force himself to play anymore.
Mhm.
That's why they didn't do any kind of like imaging until just this week, which is sort of like, I don't know. I would almost have rather they had done the imaging like as soon as something happened, but I guess
agree.
Yeah.
I'm guessing after the dive in Houston, he didn't really think much of it and then moved on, and there wasn't that much pain, and then it kind of just progressively got worse. But to me, if you're Aaron Judge, I bet the Yankees could have probably snuck him in for imaging without like telling anybody earlier on.
Yeah.
But the only problem would be that like if they did imaging, found that stress fracture early, and then let him continue to play until it was that's negligence.
That's awful.
They would have had to take him out way earlier. So I think it was probably a decision by Judge to just be like, I'm gonna try and play through this as best I can until it's absolutely like not possible anymore.
The other thing,
and it's a long season.
It's a long season, as we were kind of talking about earlier, but Judge is also 34 years old. Like, they could have plausibly given him a day off somewhere where it didn't raise any alarms. Like, I would say now it's going to be 2 weeks ago. Before this Tuesday off day that they just gave him that made everyone think, well, oh, they just had an off day on Monday. Why does he need another day off? That's weird.
Yeah.
That you could plausibly do that a way that doesn't make anyone concerned.
Right.
But now that the pain has become too unbearable, they're forced to tell us, well, Aaron Judge, he's in some pain. Okay, what's going on? So that's kind of just another day in Yankee land with that injury handling. It's very strange and usually doesn't really work out that well for them, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were on a road trip at the end of May. It honestly went okay. I would say it went fairly well. They won. They swept the Royals out of Kansas City, got a day off for travel, and then took 2 or 3 from the A's. They come home, where they had been playing better than they were on the road in May, but in June it's going a bit differently so far. They dropped the first 2 games of the series to Cleveland, won 9-4, and then Wednesday 5-4. They managed to avoid the sweep on Thursday with a really solid start by Carlos Rodon, who seems to be getting more into his form as well. It was a little rough in the first 2 starts off IL, but now, like in that third start, he seems like he's doing a little bit better. But then a certified classic Ryan Weathers start against the Red Sox in the first game of that current series this weekend. It was last night. They lost 5-3, and Ryan Weathers can't get run support to save his life. It is honestly depressing to watch him pitch now, because I liked watching Ryan Weathers become a starter. I wasn't a huge fan at first. I was like, this guy should have just stayed in the bullpen. What are we doing? There's a million starters coming back this year. Why are we making a starter from scratch who didn't exist before? But then he became pretty solid, especially to have that left-handed arm, but he just can't get run support. They never give him runs.
The feeling.
It
happens to Mets literally all the time. It's awful. But he also he had a decent run to start the season. Now he's like a little, he hasn't been great the past 4 starts or so. I don't know. I think this is just. First of all, you were saying, Alex, I wanted to bring this up because you were saying it before in the studio. Didn't feel like Red Sox-Yankees last night.
No, it did not. It felt pretty quiet. Like, it's not that intense. Like, I've been to Yankee Red Sox games before where it's like every out matters, every at-bat matters. Last night was not that. Don't get me wrong. I know the Knicks played last night. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But I think part of it's the Red Sox were not playing very good baseball coming into this series.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the Red Sox fans usually help the atmosphere significantly.
Yeah.
Not a majority, obviously. Like, it's still plenty of Yankee fans, but I think the fact that the Red Sox were so bad coming in, a lot of the Yankee fans probably checked out on this one.
Yeah.
The Knicks playing at the same time. But I think like also the Red Sox fans were generally checked out. Like, if I was a Boston Red Sox fan, I probably don't go to that game last night, but I'll tell you what, I'm buying tickets for today's game after having seen last night, because now, like, with Aaron Judge not playing, I'm sure he'll still be in the dugout, but with him not playing and the Yankees having to sort of, it is crazy how much of a patchwork the lineup looks like when Aaron Judge is not in it. All the names are mostly the same. It is really incredible. The names are mostly the same, but when I go up and down the order, it is like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
I need to raise a point here. And this is not my baseball team, obviously, but Anthony Volpe.
We don't got to talk about that 9th inning at bat.
Did everybody see? I had to watch the video. Yes, I had to watch the video of that to make sure it actually happened. I could have hit one of those for a home run. Like, all were directly down the middle, and he didn't swing. Yeah. What is happening?
Lefty versus righty.
Yes.
I personally don't care that it's Chapman because he doesn't throw 105 anymore.
No,
Right.
Those
and he
fastballs
barely
were
throws
95.
strikes.
Yes.
And 2 of them were directly down the middle. One of them was painted. The other 2 were, honest to goodness, belt high 95-mile-an-hour fastballs
Right in the sweet spot.
that
Yeah.
at least 90% of Major League Baseball players can hit, if not 95% of players can hit that.
It was egregious. And in the 9th inning, like
As the
maybe we start to try and get
representing the
some
tying run as
the
well.
tying run.
Yeah.
The 2-run game with a man on.
I hope he got like a chat with
And I
Boone
don't-
after
I'm
that.
glad
It was
at
like,
least
hey,
I'm
what the
glad
heck
you
was
brought it
that?
up because I was
Right.
gonna say Volpe has kind of been doing all of the little things right and like trying to like do his best to make it hard to like
Yeah.
move him back down again. But
After
oh
that.
my goodness,
I
the
would've-
the hitting is rearing its head again,
And it's real bad.
and it's gonna
It's
be a
bad.
serious problem at some point.
I think that at
He
bat
did
could
have a
been
hit
bunt.
last night.
You have
Could've been a
you have a
bunt.
pitcher on
That's
the
a
mound
great
who's like
call.
notorious for throwing the ball into right field. Like he barely gets off the mound. It could have been a
Anything but
bunt.
standing there and holding your bat. Not
Yeah.
moving it
True.
would've
If
been
Anthony
better.
Volpe was on the Brewers, he would have bunted there.
There you
That
go.
team
Right.
bunts like crazy.
Nothing to be ashamed of with a bunt.
No,
That could have gotten
Um,
a run in.
right. You could have had 2 runners on and no outs. Like,
Only guys who had multiple hits last night for the Yankees were Ben Rice, who went yard in the first, and Spencer Jones, little 3 for 3 in his first
There you
game
go.
back up.
I am excited
uh,
to see him get some more playing time.
Yeah,
after
he gets
one,
in
like,
with Judge
tiny
down.
Silver lining is like, okay, we get to see him again. I
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if there is any kind of like
Which they're right.
flip
It
side
feels
of this
bad to
coin,
phrase it
it's
like
Spencer
that, but
Jones, and he
yeah.
knocked in a run
Did
too.
you see what Oswaldo Cabrera told him about like New York
Aw.
doesn't need heroes, they just need you to be you. I was like,
Wow.
So that's
cute.
that's it.
Shout out
That's
wholesome
it.
Oswaldo Cabrera, who
And then-
like
and
also
then
is
3
he
singles.
still like what's
He's in
his
Scranton.
deal?
He's still in
okay, he's in
AAA.
AAA.
Yeah.
Because the AAA Yankees
Played the
threw a
Syracuse,
no-hitter
yeah.
against the Syracuse Mets last night.
Yeah, but Jason
You can read
Dominguez
about it
went
in the
0
New
for
York
4.
Post. I wrote about it.
Wow, the Yankees
God,
are
it was
so
bad.
top loaded. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Dominguez was a regular starter like
He was
2 years ago, I think. Oswaldo
Yeah.
Cabrera was a regular starter before he snapped his leg in Seattle. Which again, like that, I'm like, how do you lose your job that bad to an injury? Like
Well,
Anthony
I'd
Volpe
rather-
didn't get injured; they just
yeah.
sent him down because he was bad.
Yeah.
Oswaldo Cabrera got sent down because he broke his leg.
Right. But I'd rather have him
Poor
than like
guy.
Rosario. Because
Oh,
I don't know what he's doing.
Absolutely. As someone who's very familiar with the Ahmed Rosario experience, I agree. I think I'd rather have Oswaldo up right now, if only for he's so like smiley and happy, even when he's faced with a broken leg. He's all like happy and stuff, and I love that for him. We need more of that
Well,
in baseball.
Right.
And even if Volpe had a bad at bat in the 9th against Aroldis Chapman, that it still is not the worst hitter on this team because Austin Wells exists.
Austin Wells.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
I don't know
What
how
do
he
you
made it
even
past
do?
last night.
What
And also,
do you
wait,
do with
here's
this?
a question. You sent this to the group chat. They sent down JC Escara, brought
Right.
up Ali Sanchez, former
Yes.
Met, of course. But what? Why did they do
So,
that?
The Yankees have had this problem all year about having 2 lefty hitting catchers. Now, my problem is that
Problem.
my problem
Okay, please
is that
continue.
I think JC Escar is a better fielding catcher, defensive catcher than Austin Wells.
I
that
would
could
agree.
be a hot take. I
That
know there's a
that
lot
wasn't
of-
always the case,
I
but
think
it's
now-
definitely
I think it's
become a
gotten
thing
there.
because
my problem,
basically because Escara stayed exactly
Yeah.
as good as he always was,
Right.
and Austin Wells is randomly falling off a cliff defensively.
and the problem
Yeah.
is that Aaron Boone said that JC Escar could be like a top 15 catcher, like offensively in the league if he started every day. But you're the one who makes the decisions.
You're the one not
you're
starting.
you're
every
the one
day.
not
That's your
starting.
fault.
So I don't understand. And then Wells is playing 4 out of 5 days, and Escar is playing 1, and then you're gonna complain about his production. Like I don't
think
get it.
the Yankees catching situation has been weird because of battery relationships
Yeah.
in
yeah.
for sure.
like with the starting pitchers, mostly with the starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Like I remember Garrett Cole was a big fan
Oh,
always
yeah.
of having Austin Wells catch him, and Max Fried took that on as
Well,
well
Cole's
last
changed
year.
every year.
Yeah,
That's true.
but I mean,
Also, eventually, at some point, I'm like, guys, it's
Like, get
like,
over it.
Just get over it.
Just
Like, we
pitch.
have to. We need a catcher who can hit.
at some point, just go get a catcher. Like they have
That
been trying.
too,
They've been
yeah.
trying to produce a catcher out of the farm system for so
Right.
long. Like just go get one. They've gone out and gotten a guy for almost every position, including shortstop, where they have been trying, though they might, to get Volpe to play shortstop. but he
can't.
He can't hit. He can't hit as well as they need a shortstop to, especially with how many power shortstops there are now.
Yes.
Like you got guys in the market like Carlos Correa floating around after he was in Minnesota for 3 seconds and somehow didn't wind up on the Yankees. Not that I wanted him, but the fact that they're settling for like Volpe, and then they went out and got Caballero. And like, yeah,
And
Caballero's
he's pretty good.
fast. He's solid.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt, which sucked. But again, like, just go get somebody to catch.
It's
you
the
had a
Yankees. Go
gem.
get people.
They had a
Yeah.
gem of a defensive catcher in Jose Trevino. Sure, the hitting wasn't exactly there, but there's a right-handed catcher. Oh my goodness.
Right.
They let a right-handed catcher walk, and now they have a
Right.
left-handed catcher problem.
Or Kyle
Like,
Higashioka.
these things
I
seem
can't believe they have a left-handed
these
catcher
seem
problem. Sorry, that's
so
annoying.
like it seems like such an avoidable situation that it just didn't work out. Whatever. Ben Rice's OPS is still over 1,000. That's all that
Hey
matters.
man, Ben Rice could be the thing that.
And
takes
Trent
them
Grisham went
to
yard
the
last night,
right.
so that's gonna make the haters be quiet for another week.
No, I'm still a hater.
But yeah, the Yankees are kind of in panic mode. Tonight they play Game 2 against the Boston Red Sox. That is, it's going to be at 7:30 tonight. I was going to try and pull the starters.
It's Will Warren and
Warren.
Ranger Suarez.
Warren and Ranger Suarez. Oh, that should be fun. I
And
can't
then
wait for the
tomorrow
Yankees
is
to lose
Cam
3-0.
Schlittler.
Yeah.
Big day for my fantasy team.
Big
guys.
day for
Gotta
Cam Schlittler. Anytime he
take the
starts against the
wins.
Red Sox, it's a big day for
I'm actually.
him.
That's honestly appointment viewing. I might have to set some time aside for that one. Not gonna lie. Just forget about the Mets.
All right.
for a
Well,
day.
on the other side of this break, we're going to be talking the New York Mets. Don't go anywhere. 1-on-1.
Are you looking at 4x4s on cars.com?
Hey, what's up? It's Owen Kelty, one of WFUV Sports' New York Knicks beat reporters. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks look to dominate the East and bring a championship back to New York. Keep up all season long on my X account at Owen Kelty for all the highs and lows of New York Knicks basketball. WFUV Sports is your home for all things Knicks.
Welcome back to 1-on-1, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Our second leg of the baseball segment coming at you with the New York Mets. Tucker Austin, Grace McCarron, Alex Diaz with you. If you want to join the conversation, listening live on YouTube, you can call at 718-817-2750. That's 718-817-2750. And join the conversation. Mets baseball, you know what? Mets world, Grace, I'd say it's going a bit better than Yankees world right now, just based on recency bias. Like
I would say so.
we were kind of saying the entire last segment, like the Yankees are in position to kind of just keep the ship afloat
Tread
as
water.
they go.
Yeah.
Tread water, exactly. The Mets, on the other hand, they've kind of had a weird experience this season, and I would say after a pretty rough week and road trip between Washington and Miami, I'd say they're definitely on more of an upswing in the last week or so. They've won, 6 of their last 8. They won the last game against the Reds. Swept the Marlins after getting swept by the Marlins, so they swept the Marlins right out of Queens. Then dropped 2 in Seattle, and that first game was really tough. I hate watched that game because it was Monday night and there was no other sports on, so I threw that on the TV in the corner on SNY. There were no other channels showing anything of interest. And, it went down to the wire. You go into the 10th, and it's like, okay, here we go. Juan Soto with a guy on second.
Nope.
This is what they pay him for.
Mm-mm.
No, didn't really work out, and then the Mets got walked off, and that led to an 8-3 loss the next day. But then they won 7-1.
That was a good day.
In the last game, and then went to San Diego and blanked the Padres in Game 1, 5-0. Let me tell you, any excuse not to have to face off against Mason Miller is a good excuse. And winning 5-0, did he pitch?
He pitched because now my dad and I said the same thing. Why on earth is he in this game? He apparently hadn't pitched because the Padres have been on such a skid recently. They've lost, I want to say 7 of their last.
So Mason Miller
really
pitched
bad.
in a 5-run game.
He really had been cold. So they were like, we got it. They're 1-9 in their last 10. So
He gave up a run.
Last 10. He gave up a run.
Wait, is that
the
the
Mets
first run?
got a run off Mason Miller.
Is that the first run he gave up all year? Because he had a
Don't know.
scoreless streak for a long time.
Right.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. I gotta find this.
So that was last night was magical. Now here's what I'll say. As I mentioned, the Padres have not really been the same recently. They've lost 9 of their last 10 now. They're superstars. There's a lot of stars on that team. Maybe you could throw in Jackson Merrill's a budding star. They have not been performing. Fernando Tatis has 1 home run. Maybe I still think he literally just got his first home run of the season a week ago.
That was a funny day.
Manny Machado, same thing, hasn't been performing. Jackson Merrill, same thing. They just lost Ramon Laureano for the season, and he wasn't great offensively to start the year, but you don't want to lose a bat at this juncture when your superstars aren't playing well. You rely on the guys who are less superstar-y. That's Ramon Laureano. Now he's out for the year after hip surgery. So it's been a weird run for the Padres. They were kind of punching above their weight considering the offensive struggles because they were really, really good to start the season. They were scary. They were right up there with the Dodgers, and now they are 32-30, just hovering above 500. So yes, this is not the Padres that we saw maybe in April. If the Mets had beaten the Padres in April, I would have told you that maybe we are going to figure this thing out and make the playoffs, and I would have started believing. But this is not the same Padres. They've been struggling. Good on the Mets, though, for capitalizing, because we have lost some pretty bad teams this season. But we got Nolan McClain later tonight at a nice 10 p.m. I don't know if I'm going to be awake to watch that whole thing, but
come on.
I'm tired. Nolan McClain and ex-Met Griffin Canning, who I loved Griffin Canning, but he blew out his Achilles last June, and that was the last time we saw him in a Mets uniform. He has not been great to start the season, though. Nolan McClain has had his struggles. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to be able to sweep the Padres. That would be kind of crazy.
And you know what? Earlier you mentioned Bo Bichette has not been playing the way that the Mets would ask him to, or would have liked this year. And I'd say for most of the year, yes.
Yeah.
But again, we're going off of more recent numbers in the last 10 games played for Bo Bichette, he's batting .306. With a 770 OPS.
That's definitely been a theme. Mendy has talked about it. He said we kind of just hope he picks up from. He's had some good. It might have been the win against the Mariners in Seattle last week where he had 4 hits, which he has just not had good games like that this season. So that was good to see. But yeah, they seem to be hoping he can kind of ride the wave there.
He's only struck out 6 times in his last 10 games. That's significantly less than a lot of other Mets.
I believe he still leads the team in RBI, which he actually was still when he was struggling. So that's something at least. But yeah, it's been kind of a up and down couple of weeks. The problem with the Mets is that they have a couple of awful games, and then they have one really great game where they score 10 runs, and I'm like, wait, maybe it's not so bad. and then the next day.
No, it's
a
turned
cycle.
into a pretty weird season just because
It's
of
weird.
how
Yeah.
rough that start was. Now I no longer really know what to think about the Mets because, like,
Neither do I.
for the month of April, I knew how to think about the Mets. I was okay. The
Absolutely.
Mets are terrible. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
fine. Like we get it. Move on. But pretty much ever since the Subway Series, I've been like, well, now what am I supposed to do with the Mets? Because they just beat like the mostly full strength Yankees in 2 out of 3 games, and now they'll string a win or 2 or 3 together every now and then, more often than they were doing in April. So I don't know if I want to say this team is getting better because like they might just be bad again in 2 weeks, might be bad again next week. It is a highly volatile team. I have really no idea how to predict what these guys are going to do. But yeah, Bo Bichette does still lead the team in RBIs. Juan Soto's got 13 home runs
Juan Soto's
in
been great.
like almost 100 less at bats than Bo Bichette.
Yeah, he's since coming back from his calf thing has been very, very important. Obviously, it's
Well,
Juan
it leads the
Soto.
team in total
Wouldn't
bases
imagine anything
naturally.
else. Yeah. I'm
Also
trying to
leads the
think
team
who
in
else.
walks. He's still got one of the
There you
best eyes
go.
in baseball.
There you go.
Like,
It's my boy.
that was one of my favorite parts about Juan Soto on the Yankees was just the way he approached every at bat.
It's so
He's such a
interesting.
high level competitor
Yeah.
and a great eye. I
Yeah.
like one of the best in the business, if not the best.
Absolutely.
He's got a really good sense of the strike zone.
I do. So after this Padres series, they come home. They face St. Louis during the week, and then the Atlanta Braves come into town.
Oh yikes! Yeah, I remember I kept hearing about that series and being like, oh boy.
I'll be there Saturday. I'm a little bit scared of that one, but
For reference, the team of the 90s, the Atlanta Braves, they have 43 wins and enjoy the best record in baseball right now at 43-21.
and they also like, even when they're not this good, I'm always afraid of the Braves. Even last season when they were
Yeah.
just not
God.
really anything at all. They were
Plus-
76 and 86 last year, and I was still afraid of them. Now the Mets were not very good for a lot of last year too, but
Plus 112 run differential. They're 23-10 on the road as compared to 20-11 at home. Like, what? This team just wins everywhere.
they just they
It
have
doesn't
no
matter.
issues. So that's going to be, I don't want to say telling of what the Mets actually are, because I really don't know what the Mets. Here's another thing: the Mets have been without Francisco Lindor, who's a big part of their offense, for quite a few weeks now. I mean, we talk about
Right.
injuries taking people
Yeah.
out for a long time. That's another instance. I don't know what they are until we get him back. We have to see
I
what
feel like you
Francisco
have a couple
Lindor's
that
gonna
come
be.
back that like kind of
Yeah.
determine.
Yeah, we also are still waiting on Jorge Polanco, who I don't know if we're going to see him again. Luis Roberts still out. Now, the outfielders have actually been pretty solid. AJ
Yeah.
Ewing, he's a good baseball player. And Carson Benj, also a good baseball player. It's White Boy Summer. Jared Young has been one of their best hitters. I don't know how this happened. He's batting cleanup every day, and he's like really productive. It's really
Alex,
confusing.
who are these people?
Who are these people? I would have said the same thing. Like, if you told me these names at this time last season, I would have been like, what is wrong with you? What are you talking about? Where's Francisco Lindor? And here we are. But they've brought up some guys who've been very solid, and I'm not mad about it, but it's also, I mean, it felt pretty good to shut out the Padres last night, because this
Yeah.
has the Padres, because of their recent like really dive. They've been
Right.
genuinely bad the past couple of weeks. Had this series written all over it as a little bounce back for the Padres, where they get it together against a
Mm-hmm.
not very great Mets team, and they figure it out, and then they go on a run. I don't know really what to think of the Mets. That's the long-winded way of saying I don't know what's going on. With them, they're very weird and confusing, but we have Nolan McLean tonight, which he's had his share of struggles. We can say the same thing for a couple of other pitchers, but Christian Scott was great last night. So I'm not, right now I'm content, I think would be the adjective I'd use.
Yeah, I would say the fact that, like, Mets fans and seemingly Mets journalists also cannot figure out what is going on
Nobody can.
with this team. That's
No.
really that's the reason why you can get in the door at Citi Field for like $16, and it's like
I like
the
that.
I know the only reason I bring that up is because I keep seeing it like
Yeah.
like placed next to ticket prices for Madison Square Garden for the NBA Finals, or next to a ticket for a World Cup game at MetLife.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, you go on SeatGeek. Here's what's happening in the New York area. It's like $4,000, $12,000, $12.
And you know what? The great thing about $12 tickets is in those sections, sometimes if you hit the game right, you'll have the whole section to yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you spend only $12 on a ticket, you have more time to go get some merch, get some more food. You don't feel like
you're not
spending
locked
too
into your
much money.
seat.
Exactly. You're not locked into your seat. You can usually move down because there's, again,
Oh,
nobody
true.
up there, which I like sitting up there. I know that's not always a popular.
Where's up there, though? Like 2
I
or 3?
no, I
Five?
don't hate
There's a 5?
a 500 level moment.
There's
I
a-
know
there's-
you guys
there's
don't
a
have that.
5?
You guys don't have that. It's your 300s.
City Field has a 5. We have a 4.
Yeah,
Our-
that's
We have a
400.
4 that's like right
Yes.
above 3, so it's kind of the
Yes.
same.
It's
Like
like
the
3.5.
concourse is in the middle.
There you go. Yeah, now I remember that. Yeah, we have like the
5.
the last section at City Field is 538.
You get air miles for that?
You should.
You should. They should give you some kind of prize because I will admit
Do they give
538
you
is not a
oxygen up
great
there?
seat. But
Get your oxygen here.
they give you an they give you
That guy going
airplane
up and down.
snacks. They got the cart.
That's
should.
so funny. No, but I do like at Yankee Stadium. I enjoy the 300 section. I don't think it's that bad. Like
Listen.
I'll usually try to get it if I'm up there. I'm usually trying to get a seat that's in like the first or second row, like in front of that like glass
exactly.
thing.
That is excellent positioning.
But see, Yankee Stadium is different with that
It's
because
different.
it's usually packed, if
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
majority of seats are taken, and especially in those first couple of rows because
Oh, yeah.
people are trying to do the exact same thing that you are.
I think the sweet spot, honestly, is I'll say this for City Field because that's what I know more. Try and get an aisle seat. In like dream scenario. So I went to the week of Memorial
Aisle's always
Day.
money.
Aisle is always money, no matter where you are. Week of Memorial Day, I was at 4 Mets games, 2 of them in the stands with my family, and got aisle both times. If you go for like the 130s vibe, we got those tickets for like $25. And now, admittedly, that was against like the Reds and the
Right.
Marlins, and nobody really cares about those teams. I fear. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. They're not very, popular around these parts. That was sweet spot. Something about the 130s and like row 10. It's a good view. Not too close to where you think you might get killed by a foul ball.
Right.
But you see everything.
I'm trying to think what's the order in City Field of like which direction do the numbers actually go? Is it like lower numbers close to home plate and then higher numbers the further out you go?
Yes.
Or is it like more of an actual around the whole thing? So I'm trying to think.
Great question.
For reference, like for me, I know where a couple of section numbers are in Yankee Stadium
Mhm.
and can then build it from there.
I think
Yeah.
it's like 131 would be like right next to left field.
oh,
By the third base line, but like kind of out.
foul side of the the
Yes.
foul pole.
Yes. So then as you get closer to home plate, if you go that way,
Yeah.
it's it'll be like lower 30. Like
Yeah, yeah,
lower
yeah,
one,
yeah.
It'll go 130.
those seats in City
129,
Field are
etc.
actually pretty interesting to me because they're kind
Mhm.
of they're at a weirder angle.
Mhm.
They're
They are at a
almost
weird
like they're
angle.
almost facing home plate more than facing straight out onto the
Mhm.
field like they are at Yankee
Yeah.
Stadium. It's more of like it's more of a football
Yeah.
stadium feel where it's like actually facing the field that's in front of you,
Right.
not the actual
Not
point of
just, like-
focus.
Yeah.
Kind of like almost like how Fenway works a little
Mhm.
bit. Those seats in right,
Yeah.
how they like curl towards
I
the
love the
field and
same
all
thing.
face the
Yeah.
plate. Yeah. So, no, I like that pick. My family always used to get tickets to Yankee games. My mom had these corporate seats in section 114.
There you go.
114B down the first baseline. It's like a little past where first base is. But I always remember we could like chirp the first baseman and the runner on first from up there. I feel like I once maybe egged Brett Gardner on to steal.
Nice.
Maybe one
was
time it
definitely
did
all
that.
you.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was just
Maybe,
you.
maybe.
That was just you for sure.
Also had a foul ball pop up in a pop up in foul territory to the right of first that was like close to the fence where like I and a few other people started yelling, "I got it," and that dropped. That ball dropped. So somebody heard something.
Oh man.
But yeah, either way, I think that'll just about do it for the Mets. We're just as confused as you are for the Mets fans listening. We really don't know what's going on with this team, but seemingly they might be doing better than the Yankees for the next couple of weeks, so just don't be shocked if that is the case. However, by the time these two teams meet again, I imagine the Yankees will be back in shape. But on the other side of this short break, we're going to have a one-on-one exclusive, an interview between recent graduate Brendan Shorey, shout out to him for getting this done, and Tim Brown, baseball beat writer and New York Times best-selling author. He's got a new book out now, and Shorey talked to him about it. Catch that interview after this break on One on One.
Hey Yankees fans, join us at Yankee Stadium on Thursday, June 18th as the Yankees take on the White Sox. And come early for a special giveaway. It's Yankee Soccer Jersey Night. The first 18,000 guests will receive a Yankee soccer jersey presented by Bank of America.
Welcome back into One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. I am now joined by Tim Brown. He's covered baseball for more than 30 years and has written 2 New York Times bestsellers, The Phenomenon with Rick Ankiel and Imperfect with Jim Abbott. He also wrote The Tao of the Backup Catcher, and in 2016, he was awarded first place in beat writing by the Associated Press sports editors. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mr. Brown.
Brandon, thanks very much. Call me Tim, please.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. I guess we'll go ahead and start. We'll start with the book that was just released here about Nolan Ryan. And I want to ask you, kind of just to start, why Nolan Ryan? What kind of inspires you to write about him?
For guys like you, Brendan, if you didn't see Nolan Ryan pitch, right? You go to the baseball reference page and you see all these stats. And you think to yourself, you look at the Hall of Fame and you see this plaque and you think, all right, I guess I know who Nolan Ryan is. But I wanted to introduce the new generation, the next generation, those who aren't as old as I am and maybe didn't see him pitch and don't have the perspective of where the game has gone since Nolan. He was unique when he played. And now by today's standards, with the passage of time, what he did becomes almost unfathomable. So I wanted to, again, introduce Nolan, the man, the husband, the father, the Texan, to whoever just knows him by word of mouth or baseball reference page.
And for the record, for all of our viewers, this book, Nolan, The Singular Life of an American Original, on sale today, actually, May 19th. When you will be watching this, it will be actually on Saturday. So the book will have been on sale for a few days. Kind of going through the whole process when you were doing your research, when you were writing the book, what would you say is the coolest thing that you got to experience?
So a couple of years ago, when I was just starting the research process, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina now. I grew up in New York and spent most of 40 years in LA and recently moved to North Carolina. So I got in my car and I drove to Texas because what I needed to do was to try to understand Texas. I'd been there a lot, but I'd never really put more thought into it than, going to the airport, going to the ballpark, going to the hotel, and then getting back on an airplane again. So I wanted to try to understand where Nolan came from. And he grew up in this little town south of Houston called Alvin. And I spent a solid 2.5 weeks there getting to know the people, trying to understand the Alvin that Nolan grew up in. He moved there when he was just a few weeks old in 1947. And so was a child of the 50s and 60s of Alvin, Texas. And what I learned was, there was a certain type of person, a certain type of man who a place like Alvin forms. You're from Texas. those are tough winters. Those are tough summers. Alvin these are people of the soil. They're cattlemen, or they're farmers, or they're oilmen. And they sort of existed on the whims of all of those areas. So that was really fun, just sort of getting to know Alvin, this place that I had heard about for years and years, decades even, and getting a sense of why Nolan became the man, the pitcher that he did.
On that kind of similar note, what is one thing that you think you learned about Nolan, whether it's in the book, whether it's not or not in the book? One thing you've learned about Nolan that you thought was like super cool or super interesting that you think not a lot of people would know?
Well, I'll give you a little thing that I learned that I had no idea. If you go back and watch some of the videos of Nolan pitching, he had this tendency every once in a while, this like little sneer would come across his face, so almost like a half smile. And the hitters I talked to thought that, like, what's he laughing at, or what's he mad at, or they couldn't quite figure out what this expression was saying, but it was kind of intimidating. And in talking to Nolan's catchers, he was basically a fastball curveball guy. Now, the changeup he learned along the way, and it was a slow process for him. But whenever he wanted to throw his changeup, that's how he would tell his catcher, "I'm throwing the changeup." He said, "If you see my teeth, I want to throw a changeup." So this thing that these hitters were reading as anger or amusement or whatever from 60 feet away was actually him just calling for his own changeup.
That's awesome. That's not something you hear every day. It's weird, that kind of interesting to think about how often you look at baseball nowadays, the players seem to pick up on that type of stuff, either when they're at the plate or at second. You mentioned Nolan's childhood just a minute ago. How much of an impact do you think that his childhood and his upbringing had on his career and kind of what he's known for in the sport of baseball?
Yeah, he had a dad who was very hardworking. He was an oil man, and he had a second job delivering newspapers in the very early morning. And that was the example that Nolan had. He had 4 sisters and a brother. His father took that as a great responsibility. He wanted to make enough money to send particularly the girls to college, to get them educated so they could have decent, comfortable lives. And I think the other men who were his friends' fathers and the men of town who also had those sort of responsibilities and took them as an important part of who they were. This is what they were providers, and they were tough guys. And I think a lot of that was the example Nolan had of who you are. You take care of your family first. And I think that he approached his career like his father approached his job in the oil field. You get up in the morning and you prepare yourself, and you get there on time, and you work hard, and you come home and you spend time with your family. And then the next day you start all over again. And that's, Nolan was famous for his routine, for his hard work. And I think a lot of it was born, his father's name was Lynn, from watching his own father conduct his life and support and provide for the family.
Do you think that's also a reason that he was able to play for 27 years?
In a strange way it is, because I think some of it's luck. Brendan, you know as well as I do that the entire game of baseball rests on an inch-long piece of ligament in a pitcher's elbow. Seasons are won and lost based on how long those things hold up. So there's that luck element of that. But when people ask me to explain why Nolan was able to pitch for 27 seasons and pitch at 46 and still be a power pitcher, there's that part of it. But I think the other part of it is because he wanted to. He desperately wanted to. And that led to a work ethic that was unsurpassed, that even now, 30, 40 years later, people are still talking about how strong he was, how hard he worked. You get the ball and you finish the game. That was the expectation. And that's what he asked of himself. And as long as his body held up, which was his responsibility, which he adhered to every single day. And he and I actually had a conversation. I'm like, did you ever like get up in the morning and think, I don't want to do this today? And he said, all the time. He said, all the time. But when the workout was over, when the work was done, I was always glad I did it. And I reminded myself of that every single day when it was cold or it was rainy or I was tired or I was sore. It was about showing up. And I think that's a great life lesson for everybody. And I hope people pick up on it from the book.
Yeah, it is a great life lesson. I want to kind of shift over to more personal kind of thing for me is time in Texas. 5 of his 27 years there, a few milestones, including his 6th and 7th no-hitters. What do you think that Nolan Ryan's impact was on Texas and vice versa? What do you think Texas's impact was on Nolan Ryan?
Well, I think there was the personal impact where the people of Texas really identified with Nolan. And I think that, in my lifetime, which is a very long time now, I have never seen an athlete that is so emblematic of where he was from. Nolan Ryan, Texas, and even Alvin, Texas. I think that was something there that existed that was unlike every other athlete I ever covered or actually just sort of watched from afar. More tangibly, he saved the Rangers. The Rangers were going bankrupt. They played in a terrible ballpark. They'd never been to the playoffs. And somehow the owner scraped together $1.8 million near the end of the 80s so that Nolan Ryan would come pitch for them. And he would stand on a mound with Texas across his chest. And suddenly people started coming to the ballpark. They existed in the shadow of the Cowboys there. And even bad Cowboys teams were preferable to the Rangers at that point. The general manager was running around in spring training chasing foul balls and home run balls because it would save the team $8. And that's the state that the Rangers were in when Nolan showed up. People came to the ballpark. The organization felt relevant again. When it was time to put a new stadium on the referendum, it was Nolan on the yard signs, and they were able to build a new ballpark. So the organization suddenly starts to grow up, and then you start to see the Ivan Rodriguez's and the Juan Gonzalez's show up. Suddenly, the Rangers start to get relevant. They had a bad luck there where the first time they got good happened to coincide with a great run by the Yankees, and they just kept running into the Yankees in the playoffs, and the Yankees were better than they were. But they build that ballpark, they become relevant. They go to the World Series when Nolan is a team president. Twice they go to the World Series. They lose both those. Then they build another ballpark. They win a World Series. To me, it all goes back to the fact that the Rangers were able to somehow cobble together enough money and make a convincing enough sales job to Nolan to come be a Ranger, to come finish his career as a Texas Ranger. And it changed entirely the course of that franchise, even to the fact that it's still there.
It seems like whenever I see pictures of him, it's most of the time it's in a Rangers jersey, not in, say, an Astros jersey or an Angels jersey. Do you think that he is more known as a Ranger and it's because of that, because he basically brought the franchise back? Or do you think that he's kind of more known or more seen as having played for another team?
I think, to me, I see him as a Ranger. And I know, Astros fans would probably argue with me. Maybe, I think the most dominant he ever was probably with the Angels. And yet, there was this, he won his 300th game with the Rangers. He threw 2 no-hitters with the Rangers. There was just something about, he aged into his mid-40s with the Rangers, still as a power pitcher. He beat up Robin Ventura as a Ranger. All these things that happened late in his career when everybody was stunned that he was still pitching and producing. And so for me, I just think of him as a Ranger.
I'll kind of shift. I have kind of one last big question for you, and I want to talk about, you look at the state of baseball today, and you see a lot of these pitchers, the amount of 7 inning starts has been decreasing over the years, maybe the past 10 years. That never seemed to be an issue for Nolan Ryan. So how do you think that kind of has changed throughout the year, going from when you would have guys back then go complete games on the daily to now you're lucky if you get 5 out of a start?
Yeah. Brendan, I think I would say maybe 15 years ago, maybe a little longer. I think it all started with it was clear that the arms of little leaguers, high school pitchers, college pitchers were just being abused. And this is sort of the adjustment, where now you're seeing an era of pitchers come through who have never figured out how to go 7 or 8 or 9 innings, where, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think anyone's to blame. I do think it's valid that you wanted to be careful with this, guys. But I think we're now stuck in this thing where there's this obsession with velocity, which, okay, that's fine. It gets a lot of hitters out. But it's also an era that's very risk averse. Like nobody wants to hurt a pitcher. And it's not like it's eliminated arm injuries. There's an epidemic now, again, of pitchers who have elbow and shoulder injuries. So it hasn't solved anything necessarily, but what it's done is eliminated the outlier guy. There will never be another Nolan Ryan because the game won't allow it. That's not to say that there isn't someone else out there who can throw hard, who can throw deep into games and just be a different sort of beast. But we're not going to find that guy by limiting him through the minor leagues to 5 innings and being really careful with him and skipping starts and, this third time through the order stuff. You've sort of lost an element of the game that was really interesting. But I'm an old head, so what do I know? It wins games, and to a degree, I just miss give me a game where both starters are in at 8, in the 8th inning, and someone's got a 1-run lead and they're pitching for their lives. Man, that was really fun.
It just seemed a lot grittier back when you had starting pitchers go the whole distance like that. Well, Tim Brown, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. Nolan, The Singular Life of an American Original, on sale. What is today, May 19th? It will already be on sale for a few days when this airs. And we will be right back after this break with more one-on-one.
Welcome back. Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. That was a great interview with Brendan Shorey and Tim Brown. Thanks to Shorey for that. But now to bring it back in, almost at the start of the third hour here on the show this afternoon, Tucker Austin and Alex Diaz still here, and Sam Giangrande has joined us from behind the glass because it's time to talk some of, I would probably say it's the world's game.
It is.
If baseball is America's pastime,
it's the world sport.
Soccer, as we call it here in the United States, and that is where a third of the World Cup will be taking place. We do call it soccer over here, but it's time for a little U.S. men's national team talk, maybe a little World Cup hype, because the World Cup does start this Thursday as of this recording. That first game, Mexico kicks things off. Who are they playing, Sam?
South Africa.
Mexico and South Africa. Is that the same matchup? Yeah, of 2010 when it was in South Africa.
That was a good game.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they get another opener like that, it's going to be quite the way to kick off a World Cup that I think could be one of the most exciting we've had, at least over the course of the past, I would say the past 3. I don't think there's a lot that can touch Brazil in 2014. That was an unbelievable World Cup. I don't remember that much about it, but I remember there being a remote U.S. run. I remember it coming to an end, I think, against Belgium.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah. But I remember having fun for that World Cup.
2014 that's like, I think when everyone thinks of the World Cup, they think of 2014.
I think so. I think we've got to a point where that is the case at this point. And I'm sure there are some probably older and more deep cut soccer fans than I who would say they remember the ones even before that, 2010, like we just mentioned, or like before we came on the air, the 2010 World Cup is a rematch. Or this year's opener is a rematch from the opener of the 2010 World Cup. And I believe people have some fond memories about 06 as well, but again, that's
1 month when that
it's
happened.
too old for me. That's too old for me. That is 2 years older than I am. But yeah, let's talk about the U.S. men's national team because they played a couple. Well, they will play a friendly today as of this recording. It'll be over if you're listening to this on 90.7 from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. By the way, if you are, please stay awake because it is relatively late for you. And if you are driving, please keep those eyes open and stay safe out there. But the U.S. plays Germany in their final friendly at 2:30 p.m. today in Chicago. I was just looking at it. I believe the German national team is undefeated in their last 5.
I think so, yeah.
And I think it's all wins as well. There's no draws thrown in there. The U.S., on the other hand, they're on a streak of at least one, I know off the top of my head, because of Senegal. Just trying to go find it particularly.
The one before was the Portugal game where they lost in Atlanta, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it was. Yeah, they lost 2-0 to Portugal. They also lost a previous friendly to that Belgian team, 5-2.
They did beat Uruguay, that's a big win.
Yeah, the Uruguay win was huge. I remember watching that game. The Senegal game also not terrible. We were talking about it last week. You weren't on the air last week, were you? Were you on production last week? Or
no, I was on air.
No, you were on air. Yeah, I was on production. But we were talking about this last week, kind of off air, like just like in passing. Yeah. We were talking about the U.S. Men's team performance against Senegal. I was generally unimpressed. Oh yeah, I remember we texted about this too.
I was impressed. I think it's
you were impressed. I was generally unimpressed just because like I know AFCON is competitive amongst themselves, but when you go beyond Africa, those national teams tend to, aside from like the occasional really good Morocco or like solid Egypt squad, a lot of the AFCON teams don't really stack up like on the international scale. But at the same time, I also think that the U.S. men's national team doesn't always stack up with the rest of the world, especially when they go out of CONCACAF. It kind of gets into like kind of a weird place, at least for me. But they won 3-2. This was a solid win. Serginho Dest got the first one in the 7th minute. I was very happy to see him score, assisted by Christian Pulisic. And then Pulisic netted the second one. He needed that one bad.
I think he was about to cry when he scored that. Like, he really needed that goal.
Pepe with the assist on that one. Mane scored twice for Senegal. Brace for him, one in the first half, one in the second half. But then Folarin Balogun gave the U.S. the lead back. The game-winning goal. Balogun has been really good for this national team. Every time, true. But every time I see him play in red, white, and blue, he always looks good. For me, though, I think this was definitely a narrative from the Qatar World Cup in 22 that Pulisic needed to put this team on his back. But I think that's almost like it's been accentuated going into this World Cup. He is not the team captain, which I thought was a weird choice. I
don't think he should be, though. He's not that much of a leader.
Yeah, that's the other thing I would say is because he has leadership qualities, but they're quieter leadership qualities. I understand why they would not go to him. Tim Ream seemed like
I don't get why
a choice.
It's a choice at best. Like if I was picking the captain, I think it would either be Tyler Adams. Mm-hmm. I think he has a very good pick, or Chris Richards. Like he had a phenomenal season for Crystal Palace, won the Conference League with them. I don't really get why it's Tim Ream, or even if they wanted to go like McKinney as well. He had a phenomenal season this year for Juventus, where they said he's an untouchable player. Like they are not letting any like offers get him away from the team. So it's weird why they went with also one of the only MLS players on the team. It's really just him and Matt Freese. I really do hope he does start. I think he will be the starting choice between the posts, but I don't get like Tim Ream as captain. I get he's a legacy, but it didn't really make sense to me.
I was gonna say, I suppose he's the most tenured, so it seems almost natural to go that direction. But even Chris Richards kind of up in the air because he's got a lingering injury that he's dealing with. Yeah, he was out against Senegal. He's going to be out again today, and Mauricio Pochettino said he does not want to risk playing him unless he gets 100% medical clearance that Richards is good to go, which I completely understand because like why would you
don't waste it on
why would you trash the next year of this guy's club career like going after a World Cup? And like for a team that usually has better odds to win the World Cup, I would get why. Like if he was playing for a France or a Germany in a better year, or maybe for an England, I would get sacrificing the health a little bit for the World Cup. But when you're playing for Team USA, like this is a team that has never really been close enough to think about winning the whole thing.
That happened in 2018 for France, actually, for Samuel Umtiti, who played for Barcelona. He got injured right before the World Cup, but he played through it, and then he completely ruined his career. He won the World Cup with France. He scored the winning goal to make it to the finals, but after that, he was never the same player. So I agree with you. You should never play when injured. It almost always results in a player just either ruining their career or it's a huge setback. So I agree with Pochettino on this one. It should, especially for a friendly, don't play him for like against a friendly when he still has time to recover before their opener against Paraguay.
Yeah, and then looking at this game today against Germany, we were talking about it a bit before the show started. This is a German team that is nowhere as good as they were, as you said, 2 years ago at the Euros. They're a little bit banged up. I also think the age factor is definitely starting to creep up on them. They've got guys on this national team who have like, no, they're not fast. They're a little bit old. They've started like some of the like absolute studs from this team have like started to walk away from their club careers, which is that's how you kind of know things are starting to downturn, at least for that core. But Germany is one of those European countries that usually has like a good young core that will come up eventually and then be like solidify their national team for years in the future.
It's
but
in the transition phase right now.
I would definitely say they're in a transition at the moment, which that always plays to the benefit of the United States, who have kind of been in a transitional period for soccer for like the last 20 years. Like you look at the growth of the MLS. Now the NWSL is starting to build popularity. Me personally didn't really have a clue about lower tier American soccer, but now I know that there's multiple divisions below the MLS that I had really no idea about. And I think it's because there's no promotion or demotion, promotion or relegation rather, in American soccer.
It hurts the competitivity a lot with it.
I think it definitely does. It at least hurts like. I think it hurts Americans' ability to produce world-class soccer players because you don't have that kind of competition at home. They got to go to Europe, which there's probably more. There's more European club players on this U.S. men's national team than I think there have ever been before, but it's still a majority built with like guys from the MLS.
A lot of that bench squad is MLS players, and that's the thing. It's the U.S. team right now. Their depth. It's not that strong, and I think that's where a lot of striker-wise, they have it. They have Ricardo Pepe who can come off the bench, Ian Wright, and then Josh Sargent. But midfield, there isn't a lot, and then defenders, they already, I think half their defenders are MLS players, and then that bench, their depth is not that strong right now. I think that's their biggest weakness really coming into this World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, like in. If they could get Chris Richards back, that would be huge on defense. Like I've usually liked what Tim Ream is able to do, but again, he's a little bit hit or miss. Anthony Robinson, very, very solid though. I'm happy about him. And then outside, like Weston McKennie had arguably a breakout, not as big as some of these other guys, but again, like getting good starting time in European soccer is pretty much a win for Americans.
Really for anyone on the U.S. men's national
Yeah,
team.
I would say Tyler Adams, excellent as
He
well.
had a
Like
really
you
good
said,
season.
probably should have been a captain or
He
the
should have
captain
been.
this year. Although Gio Reyna has also put in good performances for Team USA before.
He's been coming back.
And then, like, in terms of the forwards, I am not really worried that much. Forward talent is excellent. I just hope the moment doesn't get to them, if that makes any sense, because, like, it feels like that's kind of what happened to Pulisic in 22 at Qatar, but it also felt like it was just him and nobody else. Now this year, I feel like these guys have all had 4 years to kind of develop on a European competitive level. So between Pulisic, you mentioned Pepe, Tim Weah, Balogun, Brendan Aronson is also very solid. You think he starts?
No,
Or
he
more
would
of a
be
bench
good
guy?
to come off the bench.
It would
but
help the depth.
It definitely would. I think he's more the player who I think he comes on the 7th minute. He has fresh legs, a lot more energized, and he can help create a lot of these chances. I don't see him as a starter. I would be surprised if he did, but he definitely does have a lot of quality still as a player.
And then you mentioned him, Haji Wright. Unreal season.
He had a very good season.
Unreal season. He plays at Coventry, right?
Yeah,
and
helped them get promoted.
Like, unbelievable.
He had
That is a
phenomenal
great season. And he's
gonna be in the Prem next season.
Easily, he was the star of the show at Coventry.
I think so, yeah.
And for an American to be doing something like that, it's a la like what Pulisic does over in Milan. And that's kind of what I was thinking about, though, is that, like, Pulisic, if he can put together a 2 to 3 week stretch with the U.S. men's national team at this World Cup, like the one that he had, I believe, at the start of the season at Milan, where
his first half of the season was phenomenal.
It was unbelievable.
He was easily the MVP of Serie A. He
had AC Milan fans doing backflips in comment sections over his performance.
They were chanting USA at the San Siro. In Italy, they were chanting USA. It was a phenomenal start to the season, and I would say same thing what we were talking about earlier with the injuries. He played through an injury. He had a big goal drought, but hopefully he's back. That Senegal goal, I think, meant so much more for him just because he needed to find the back of the net, and he did in such a big moment against a very quality team.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, against this Germany team, the United States, they are 3-2 in their last 5 matches. They beat Paraguay, huge 5-1 win over Uruguay,
massive win for them.
Then a couple of losses to European sides before they beat Senegal most recently. So I think getting this win,
they need
getting a win against Germany, that would be a huge confidence boost. We were talking before the show. I thought maybe a draw.
It wouldn't be a bad showing.
It wouldn't be terrible. I just said before the show, I think I need a goal or two at least. I need some kind of offensive.
They need
production.
to show they can score against these teams.
Exactly. Yes. You go back to the last 5 between the U.S. and Germany internationally. The last time they played was 3 years ago, 2023 in October. Germany won 3-1 in an international friendly. Then you have to go back to 2015 for the next one. Another friendly, U.S. won 2-1, and then they did meet at the World Cup in 2014. Germany won that game 1-0.
Where they went on to win the whole competition.
Yeah. 4-3 was the final in favor of the U.S. in 2013 in a friendly, and then in 2006, Germany won 4-1. So USA is 2-3 against Germany in the last 5 times they've met them. It's
really.
not against a European squad, not at all. Especially because in 2015, this German core was a lot younger, a lot faster.
The year off World Cup win.
Exactly, much better than the team that we were talking about, although maybe they didn't play everybody. Who knows? Either way, I think this is a huge opportunity to springboard into the World Cup.
I think I would be happy, even if, say it's a 3-2 loss, I'm happy because there was 2 goals. I think it's more important they show they can score against a big European nation, a team who went to the quarterfinals in the Euros where those in their own backyard, it was a very controversial loss for Germany, very controversial potential handball call. But I think it's more important that they can show they can score against this team and that they are comfortably able to find the back of the goal against a strong European nation, even if, yes, other players like Musiala coming off an injury, Kai Havertz coming off an injury, but this squad, it's, as we said earlier, it's a little bit of development year. A lot of their, like, Gundogan retired. Thomas Muller won't be there this year, so Ter Stegen won't be there. And Manuel Neuer had a really, really off season for Bayern Munich this year, where hopefully they can capitalize off that. He's making a lot of mistakes with his age. He was the pioneer of being a sweeper keeper, but he doesn't have that energy anymore. So hopefully, I really do hope the USA can pull off either a win or just score goals against a team that you can really take advantage of right now.
And so with that, I want to look towards the World Cup a little more specifically. The United States will play their first game in Group D on Friday, June 12th at 9 p.m. against Paraguay. That's a team that they've played within their last 5 as of today. They beat them in November last year. So a recent matchup between the two could be a little bit of fuel in the fire for Paraguay. But at the same time, I think this also means that the USA knows what to expect out of these guys. And I remember watching that game too, because I was trying to watch some of the games last year to get a feel of where the team was at. This Paraguay team plays very physical.
A lot of South American countries are like that.
They do.
Very physical.
I don't think the referees have whistles down there, actually. I think they actually keep them in a back pocket with a zipper, so they got to do there's must be some extra effort to go grab a whistle because it does not get blown as nearly as often as it does in most other continents.
I think a lot of these South American countries need to get ready for that, though. They have to get ready that a lot of stuff it's going to get called.
Yeah.
And they can't really get away with a very physical,
it tends to hurt. It tends to hurt these I hesitate to say B tier, but if it makes any sense, A tier would be Argentina, Brazil.
I would say Paraguay is that
Uruguay.
B tier,
Paraguay fits into that sort of B tier. Still good and still competitive, but not quite on the same level as the best teams in South America. They tend to resort to that more physical style of play, a wear you down over the full 90.
Get that goal in the 83rd minute and then just park the bus.
Exactly, yes. And it almost worked. It almost worked in November. It almost worked.
But they were in the United States for that game. They didn't have that South American refereeing where they can get away with this type of style of play.
And the whistles really only came out late in the game. The U.S. got beat up in that first half, too. But I think going into this game, not a lot will depend on how this game against Germany goes. The U.S. team, I think, is fairly lucky in the fact that they don't, I don't know. Sam, would you consider Turkey to be they're a European team, right?
Yes. They do play in UEFA. Though
they play in UEFA, but I would say it's borderline.
They technically, they're Azerbaijan, Georgia, they're the same. They technically are in Asia, but they play in UEFA. They switched to where they're able to play for international qualifiers for the Euros. I would say this Turkey team, they have stars. They have Arda Güler for Real Madrid, scored their best goal of the season. He is the most expensive attacking midfielder in the world right now. And then they have Kenan Yildiz for Juventus, Weston McKennie's teammate. The most valuable player in Serie A right now, one of the best, I would say, also attacking midfielders in the world, play mix of the wing and in the attacking midfield. Those two players, they have so much talent, so much goal-scoring abilities. They are phenomenal players. Once again, Juventus said Kenan Yildiz, he could not leave Juventus because he is the heart of this team. And the world wants him. He's a phenomenal player. But outside of that, a lot of their players do play in the Turkish league. They have Şanlıurfa for Inter Milan, also a very quality player, but a lot older now. He has rumors to go back to Turkey because he's aging. I will say this Turkey squad, it's very on-off. When people think they're a dark horse, they do not do well. When people think they won't do well, they're a dark horse. And I think people have been saying this Turkey team will be a dark horse because of the power of Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz, which makes me think they're not going to do well. And if the USA could beat Turkey, that's a phenomenal showing for them. And I think it will cement them to where people will respect this team because Turkey are, I think, the definition of a dark horse team. And if the USA beats them, it's a big win for them.
Yeah. So I guess in that way, I would say the U.S. managed to avoid matching up with any core European squads in the group stage, which
Turkey
I think is
like
good
that
for them.
B-team squad as well.
Yeah, that's sort of that like second tier, but still a European squad with a highly competitive professional league within their country. The Turkish Super League is very, very high energy.
Its atmosphere is crazy. I was saying this back months ago. I think back in November, I told our very own Thomas Tisdale that Galatasaray will beat Liverpool, and he thought I was crazy. And then I told him it's a 1-0 win in Galatasaray. I knew it would happen. These Turkish fans, they bring the energy and they bring the atmosphere to wherever they go.
Yeah. Well, I want to get really quickly. Let's do some World Cup prediction, because I mean this will be the last one-on-one before the tournament actually starts on Thursday, with USA kicking off on Friday. Just taking like a cursory look at the teams that are here. Where are our heads at, we think, for a winner? Let's just call it all the way to the end. Who can win the World Cup this year? I've been seeing a lot that it's very open.
I think
and
this
I
is
would
super competitive.
I would generally agree that it's very open, but I am leaning towards the French. They were in the final in 22 against Argentina, and it went to pens. They won the World Cup in 18 in Russia. So this is a team that I don't think has gone anywhere in terms of talent and ability. If anything,
I think their squad's only
if
better
anything,
right
Kylian
now.
Mbappe is no longer the best player on that team, because it might be the guy who could win a second straight Ballon d'Or.
The funniest thing is, if
Ousmane Dembele.
France win the World Cup, Mbappe realizes that he just gave Dembele a second Ballon d'Or before he could win one. Like that, it's crazy to think about that. If France wins the World Cup, even if Mbappe is a phenomenal tournament, it's going to Dembele. It's too hard to not give it to him.
Yeah, but I think it'll be France. Alex, do you have anybody who stands out for you?
This might be a little out of left field, but I think the Netherlands have a good chance. I think they might have one of the best defenses in the tournament. I don't want to
100% agree.
I don't want to flat out say it, but I think they definitely could. And I think they also have the experience.
Any defense that's anchored by a player like Van Dijk is going to be
right. I think
excellent.
They also have the experience playing Premier League. Like a lot of their, I think 15 out of 26 or something like that have played in the Premier League at least last season. So I think they're definitely a team that maybe would surprise some people. I don't know that everybody has them as a favorite or even sees them getting to the semifinals or anything like that. But
well,
I think
they were in the semis in 22, right? They played against Argentina in the semifinal. If I'm remembering correctly, was that a quarter?
Yeah, but that one went to penalties. It was a very close game.
Yes.
And I would say this Netherlands squad's better now. They made it to the Euro semifinal against England, and they only lost to a last-minute goal. So, and their defense, like, as you said, Van Dijk's really good. Mickey Van de Ven, one of the most in-demand defenders in the world. I think they can go very far. For myself, I was saying this a little bit behind the glass. I've been saying England ever since we started talking about the World Cup here. I've been saying England, England, England. I've had an epiphany. I'm smiling right now because, like, I'm serious. It came to me in a dream. I was like, what am I saying? It's Portugal. They are going to win. I am so confident. It's Portugal. They have the best midfielder in the world. They have Vitinha, João Neves. I think the best duo in any midfield in the world. Both won back-to-back Champions League with PSG, and then Bruno Fernandes, who just broke the record, beat Thierry Henry and I think Kevin De Bruyne's joint record of most assists in Premier League season, getting 21.
Yeah, it was like most goal involvements or something. Was it assists?
Yeah, just straight assists.
Okay,
and
yeah.
then where he got 21, he got his last one on the final day. Won Premier League Player of the Year. This is easily the best midfield in the whole world. Portugal was able to beat France, who they had almost the same World Cup squad when they won in 2018 and the 2016 Euros, where majority of their starters were playing in Portugal. No one knew who they were. They had, really besides Ronaldo and Pepe in the defense, were the only two players playing for a big European team. Now, Ronaldo must be crying seeing this team because they're just so expansive, so big. They have, I easily think, the best midfield. And then up front, Pedro Neto for Chelsea, Rafael Leao for AC Milan, both incredible wingers with pace. And then their defense is also so strong, having Ruben Diaz, having Joao Cancelo and Diego Dalot, and then Diego Costa, who saved 3 penalties in one shootout in Euro 24. I'm serious when I say it literally just came to me that it has to be Portugal. I think this is their World Cup year. They have a phenomenal team, and I pray with everything in me Argentina-Portugal play at Arrowhead Stadium in the quarterfinal, and I will give, like, most people when they're in their 20s, like when it was my parents' age, they were begging, they were happy to buy a house. That's what they were seeing. I am seeing in my life, give me Ronaldo beats Argentina in a quarterfinal in the World Cup. I will do I'm not even Portuguese. I don't have a lick of like Portuguese blood in me. I have Italian blood in me, Polish blood in me, but I would do anything for this Portugal team to win. I do think they can do it. I think Ronaldo still has been class for Portugal, and I really do think they can do it. I think they have midfield. I think is more important than defense when it comes to soccer, and I think their midfield just no one can get by it.
I love that pick. This is a team that is trending upward over the past 3 World Cups. It was a group stage exit in Brazil, round of 16 appearance in Russia. They lost to Uruguay, and then in Qatar they went to the quarters and they were on a good run. They just kind of, it was like almost like a freak accident when they lost to Morocco. I remember watching that game and just being like thoroughly shocked that Morocco managed to win.
I think it was En-Nesyri who scored that goal. I remember hitting my water over. I was one of my family friends. He is Portuguese, and I remember after that it was probably because me and him went to the gym together. I remember probably the most angry I've ever been in like anything in my life. The most I've like ever lifted just for I was straight anger. You have to remember he was not born in Portugal. His parents were, and you have to realize I was just as mad as him, and he is straight Portuguese, and I felt the same exact anger when it came to that loss. But I think this is a team where people aren't really talking about them that much. They're, I believe, 6th in the world, and people haven't really been saying like, oh, they're the big team to win this. Argentina was the same in 22. No one really was looking at them that much besides saying, oh, this is Messi's last World Cup. But
that's what they were saying in 22.
Yeah,
this guy might be a robot.
Same with Ronaldo. Both of them. Who knows? Maybe they will be back in 2030.
Guys, I can't believe Qatar was the last World Cup for Ronaldo and Messi, and here we are 4 years later.
I'm so shocked they're both back. I really thought Messi was gonna quit with a win, but
well, I mean, what he has to expend probably 50% of the energy that he was expending game to game in the MLS for Inter Miami.
He's probably so
to
pumped to actually play like so much competitivity right now. Like,
oh yeah,
like I think he does. He definitely has that hunger. Yeah, but 2022 people were not looking at Argentina. Look who won the whole tournament.
Yeah, honest. So then, to that extent, really quick before we end this segment, what are the odds Argentina goes back and repeats? I don't think they're in necessarily a position because that team was veteran,
aging so much.
That team was veteran in 22.
A shock they won the tournament, and they don't have people in the wing like Di Maria. They don't have Paulo Dybala to come off the bench.
And Di Maria was so good.
He was needed,
especially in the knockout rounds.
He's such a big game player. Yeah. He one of the ideal big moment players in the world.
No, I love it. So essentially what we're saying at the end of the day when it comes to like Portugal or France, players who play for PSG are likely to help their teams.
They've been very good.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the most dominant teams in the world.
Back-to-back UCLs and steamrolling through Liga and most other competitions that they play in. So, yeah, either way, the World Cup, it's upon us. Finally, the day is here.
I'm so happy.
New Jersey Transit riders, beware.
I'm not happy.
Rideshare, like if I had to do a suggestion, I think it would be better at that point just rideshare.
Maybe we'll have to see once it happens, but
we won't know until it starts.
Yeah, no, we will not. But with that, the World Cup starts on Thursday. Mexico, South Africa, the kickoff game. The United States starts their quest for a FIFA World Cup at 9 p.m. on June 12th at SoFi Stadium against a familiar foe, Paraguay. It's going to be a really exciting tournament this year. I think it's really cool that it's happening in the United States. It'll be a fun memory for me. But yeah, on the other side of this break, we're going to be getting into some NFL because there have been some things happening with the New York Giants that we are going to have to talk about. Grace McCarron will hop back in the studio, and we'll be right back with more one-on-one after this.
Hey everyone, everyone. I'm Alex Diaz.
And I'm Mary Hannah Gallagher.
And we're the host of All In, a women's sports podcast.
On All In, we discuss everything women's sports, from the WNBA, the AUSL, and NWSL.
No matter the sport, we have you covered.
You can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
Hi soccer fans, Sam Giangrande here, your NYCFC beat reporter for the 2026 season, bringing all the soccer news here to WFUV. From Major League Soccer to the international stage, follow my X page at SamGGWFUV to see moments from each game and interviews with your favorite players and managers. From Yankee Stadium and Citi Field to the road of Etihad Park, follow me to see if New York City can get their second star.
Yeah, my dad was like, do you want me to just tweet it?
Right.
Like,
Welcome back to One On One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. Tucker Austin, Alex Diaz. Grace McCarron is back in Studio B with us. Sam Giangrande back behind the glass, and Faris Amin on video. Bobby C has been around. He's here somewhere. Shout out Bobby C. But let's get into some NFL talk here in our penultimate segment of the show. We got about a half hour left in this one today. And, oh yeah, if you want to join the conversation, give us a ring. If you are listening live on YouTube right now, 718-817-2750 is the number. That's 718-817-2750 if you want to join the conversation. And it is going to be a fun one because we are talking about the New York Football Giants. What a week it has been for Big Blue. Went from nuclear meltdown in the locker room to no, actually it's fine, and then also OBJ is back. So honestly, so many things happened that it would make your head spin.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been trying to keep up with the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and Major League Baseball all at the same time. So for me, this one came in kind of slow. Even initially with the Jackson Dart situation, I never thought it would wind up being anything more. Like, I had a feeling that these guys in the Giants locker room are like a mature group. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they wouldn't have been drafted in the first place.
Yeah.
They draft. They don't just draft talented guys. They also draft like mature guys.
Yeah.
So. Like and especially for a guy like Abdul Carter from that draft class to come in and initially have some issues. For reference, if you're wondering, listeners or viewers at home, Jackson Dart attended an event with the President of the United States. He introduced him. He did a little Big Blue chant. Some people online did not take very well to that. And that included one Abdul Carter, his teammate, who, like, they sent a couple of tweets. He was like, what is going on? Why is this happening? But instead of just letting that simmer until kickoff in September, they actually had a team meeting about it. Shocking. We actually talked to each other. Crazy. We used deliberation to work through our problems. Wild. That's why Jameis Winston is my favorite character in this whole situation.
Oh my God, that was unreal.
Because the day after it was announced that Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart had, like, quote unquote, buried the hatchet or whatever was going on between the two of them or in the locker room in general, that they asked Jameis Winston about it the next day. And Jameis Winston went on another one of his classic rants. It was very funny. I enjoyed it. But I thought it was funny because of just the way that Jameis Winston is.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis Winston was being dead serious. Like
he was
not trying to be funny.
That is as serious as he's ever been.
Yes, it's just funny when he is serious because he's such an unserious guy usually that like it's like, oh, look at him making like a real point. That's kind of funny. But not to discredit the point at all, I think it was a good point that like these are two very, very different individuals in terms of like family background, religious background, upbringing in general. Very, very like two very different people. Who usually you would imagine, especially given the social climate in the United States anymore, like when people are at odds, they're usually determined to stay at odds. But these two guys decided to put differences aside and put the team and put winning first, which for a culture, that's incredible.
I would say we have to credit the Giants PR team for the way they handled this, because this was done and dusted in a few days. And there are other teams where that would not have been the case, and they would have tried to ignore it and thought, hey, it'll go away eventually. But for a franchise like the Giants, which is one of the premier franchises in the National Football League, there is kind of a way that they do things, and
they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing,
and
they're not fooling around.
This is why the boat photo made such a large impact on the organization.
Exactly.
I don't have the record right now. I am gonna pull it up though. The Giants' record since the famous boat photo with OBJ and crew has been atrocious.
Right.
But it's because that is one piece of uncontrollable public relations that the Giants didn't necessarily want, and led to a complete downward spiral. But other than that, they're usually very good at it.
Right. In this case, obviously Abdul Carter responded online, and then there was quickly word of they had a meeting in person, and then quickly after that, they were put in front of the media to say their pieces, both of them. And a lot of credit goes to the Giants PR team for that. They're very, very good. They're one of the best in the business. But they squashed this. It seems like there was a clip going around of Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter like hugging after practice. So it made us all feel good. So whatever side you're on here, good job Giants PR for figuring it out. Done and dusted. Let's focus on OTA's training camp coming up soon. They got an interesting team. So and now they have Odell. Everyone feels good about that. So good on them for handling it. It's hopefully gone away. Certainly, if the team is any good, it will be buried by the winter. So
yeah, I think you're also in a place where professional athletes are so quick to use Twitter that it could have just been like my first instinct is to post on there and say something. Like I feel like you said though, I think they're professionals, and I think everything you've kind of seen from the Giants PR after this has been nothing but positive, and at least I think their goal is to win this year. I think that's at the end of the day, that's probably all they care about now, political beliefs aside.
Yeah, at the end of the day, in that locker room too, like they all have the same goal. And there's my mom and I were talking about this. You're never, no matter what workplace you're in, you're never gonna agree with every single person you work with. You don't have to like everyone you work with.
Right.
Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter might not like each other. That's fine, as long as they can go on the field and perform together as a collective. Does not matter what either of them think of each other. And no, you might not even ever hear about them again. Like you might not hear about their relationship ever again if they go out and it's not, obvious they don't like each other, if they just go out and play their game, which is what they're paid to do. So
and Griffin Stevenson really thought we'd spent the rest of the summer talking about Mike Vrabel. But here we got fun Giants news. But yes, that is also like sort of kind of gone away. I don't know. I'm not on Patriots Twitter.
Me neither.
But once they got A.J. Brown, I feel like people were just kind of, oh, look, it's A.J. Brown.
Right, it's a new toy to play with.
Kind of like Giants fans were just like, oh, look, it's OBJ.
Right.
Don't worry about all that with Jackson Dart and Abdul. They're good now. They're good. It's fine. Odell Beckham Jr.
New tool to play, toy to play with.
He's wearing number 3 so far at OTAs because Jalen Hyatt has his 13, and I, for one, say give it back right now.
I think so.
Because Hyatt has not really done anything. I was a big Hyatt believer.
Big fan of
I was
his.
a Hyatt
He's
apologist.
had some good moments, but
do you think it's more of a see if he makes the team first?
That could be part of it.
True.
I'm wondering if that's it, because Odell is not.
He did say he
guaranteed
has to make
the
the team, which I mean,
God, if he didn't, I would literally, I don't know if I could watch.
If Kenny Galladay was still there, he'd probably make the team.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But
Wow,
it's
Kenny
gonna be
Galladay.
it's gonna be pretty competitive either way. And who knows? Maybe Odell Beckham Jr. just being there at camp forces some of these guys to actually catch the football.
There's also
i.e.
something.
Jalen Hyatt.
Right. There's something to be said for how John Harbaugh speaks about Odell. He had said, like, he was a little concerned about bringing him back at first 'cause he was like, I love you so. Like, he literally was like, I love you so much, I don't want to have to cut you if you are not who we need. And Odell's like, don't worry about it. You can cut me if you need to. So, or something of that nature. But, like, I thought the relationship between them is so, like, lovely.
There's
and
an
interesting.
unreal
It just
amount of
makes me
good
feel
vibes.
really nice.
There's
Yeah.
so many good vibes that come from
God.
Harbaugh just in general.
Yes, I love him. He wore the Knicks hat the other day. He gets us. I feel like we
His
could be
wife
friends.
is trying to drag him to Madison Square Garden for a game, and now that it's the finals and he's been
probably
kicking
gonna
the
have
can
to
down the
go.
road, he's gonna have to shell out the most possible money that he would like if you
Right.
had just gone to go to a round 2 game.
Some of them went to San Antonio for games 1 and 2.
Yes.
Or at least game 1.
Yes.
Jackson Dart and Odell were there.
Yep, saw that. That was cool. Pete Davidson was also in that suite for some reason. Why not?
Sure.
Like we were saying during the Knicks segment, this celebrity row is going to be absolutely nuts for
Yeah.
Game 3. Like, Aaron Judge will probably be there. He's on.
Aaron Judge
he's
will
on injury
almost-
now.
right.
He's like.
And no one's going to get mad
He's
at
shut
him
down
for
for
that.
4 to 6 weeks. No, of course no one's going to get
Right.
mad at him for that.
Right.
It might be like. It might be Aaron Judge and Francisco Lindor both sitting courtside, and like there might be a photo of them like shaking hands. That would actually light the city on fire.
I would low
That'd be
key
crazy.
cry. That would be crazy. And then everyone's gonna yell at Lindor because
Right.
last time he did that, they were all mad at him because he was like, "Why aren't you watching the Mets?" And it's like, I wouldn't want to watch the Mets either. Okay, like the Knicks are really good and the Mets are not. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's fine. It's a one day. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
not the point.
No, I mean, so essentially that's what's going on with the Giants. Cam Scadaboo's doing backflips again. In case you needed an update on if his leg is okay.
I love him to death. Need him to not do any
Seems
more
okay.
flips. No flips. No, just
Let's
walking.
keep our legs
for
on the
you.
ground.
Right.
just walking,
Right.
please.
2 feet on the ground at all times unless you're walking. Like none
No,
of
how
that.
about you just get wheeled around? Like actually just
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Or
you
just
could
keep him on the little
Yeah.
like the
Right.
scooter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Bubble wrap him. And
Yeah.
I
Yep.
was fine with that.
So outside of the Giants, I wanted to touch on a couple of other things. At the very least, the Myles Garrett trade, I want to talk about that briefly, but there's been extensions all over the place in the NFL. I think Christian Watson just got extended
That was a
in
big contract too.
Green Bay. Some of the Falcons just extended one of their receivers. I forget who.
Drake London.
Yes, it was Drake London.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of wide receiver extensions going around right now. Obviously, like the Bengals earlier this offseason wound up with Dexter Lawrence from the Giants, so they improved in that capacity. But oh my goodness, is Joe Burrow not sleeping like a baby this offseason? I mean, first off, he dodged Max Crosby coming into his division when that deal
man.
with the Raiders and Ravens fell
he
through.
must be so happy.
But now Myles Garrett is gone.
Yeah.
He's not even in the same conference anymore.
Yeah.
Now his
Joe
only goal is
Burrow's
to play
life
a
just
full
got
season.
so much easier. But yeah, let's talk about these Rams really quickly. They add Myles Garrett. They lose Jared Verse, who could wind up really good in the future.
Oh yeah.
They lose a couple of picks, I think, as well. But the Rams are no strangers to trading first-round picks. They've only used one, I think, in the last, 10 years, and it was Jared Verse, who they then traded for Myles Garrett. So the Rams are not concerned with high-end draft capital because they know they can go get guys who are already proven in the league. They had a couple of league leaders in offensive categories with Stafford and Nakua last year. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum will make an excellent backfield. And now you add defensively a guy like Myles Garrett, who is just going to dominate on the defensive line. I think he led the league in sacks. Last year. He at the very least broke the record for career sacks last year and is going to continue playing. So that record is only going to increase now. The Rams had an excellent team last year. The Seahawks just wound up with a better squad at the right time, but I think LA is going to be a very hard team to get by next season.
I would agree with that.
This is I would say this is a more impactful signing than Micah Parsons to Green Bay.
I think so too. Although Micah Parsons, apparently when he got hurt last season, the Packers didn't win any games without him.
The problem is everybody got hurt.
Yes.
Like, they lost Tucker Kraft during that part of the season.
Yeah, that was kind of a rough stretch for them. So he is obviously very important to them. But yeah, I saw some people on Twitter, which obviously a lot of people complain on Twitter all the time, but some people were like, why would you get rid of Jared Verse? And I'm like, Myles Garrett is probably a Hall of Famer at this juncture.
I think he is.
Would probably give up.
You
most
can't say he has the
things for
sacks
Myles
record.
Garrett. Right.
If everybody else,
he's got the single season sack
if
record.
like the next 5 guys on the list are all Hall of Famers,
why wouldn't he be?
Well, exactly.
Like, so and Jared Verse is great. I think he actually is going to be a very good player. But why wouldn't you, if you're the Rams, who are obviously in win now mode because they are that good, and Matthew Stafford also, love him. He is getting older. Like, we don't know how many more seasons
we might
we
have like 1 or 2 more shots with him.
They're in win now mode. Myles Garrett adding to that team is just, it's a super team. They're looking like the Dodgers, which is annoying because they're both in
It
LA.
reminds me a lot of the year, that last year with Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
When they kind of just they accumulated a massive amount of very talented players, including Odell Beckham Jr. And then they went and won a Super Bowl in their home stadium.
Yeah.
So.
And you know where the Super Bowl is this year? SoFi Stadium.
Oh my God, it's there again.
It's going to happen again, guys. I'm booking it now. The Rams are going to win the Super
So
Bowl.
it didn't happen for what, 56 years of Super Bowls?
A lot of years.
Then in Super Bowl 56, they did it, and then 2 years before that, I think, was the Bucks
at Raymond James
at home. Yeah. So it didn't happen for like 50 years. Then it happens twice in like 3 years.
Could happen.
Now
a
it could
third
happen
time.
again. Now it could very well happen again.
Nobody would be shocked.
Especially because Kubiak is now out in Seattle because he's in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to Vegas. He's going to coach with the Raiders. So you lose that element from Seattle, which they had a effectively unbeatable team, I would say, with their defense last year.
And they lost Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks.
Yes, they also lost Kenneth Walker.
Which is brutal for them.
He's very good, but I feel like with running backs in the NFL, like and you can tell based on like the payrolls for running backs in the NFL, running backs are highly replaceable right now.
Oh yeah.
There are your good, like, probably top 5 who have like insane explosiveness, but outside of that, running backs seem very replaceable. I mean, the Giants, whether or not you think it was a bad move, the Giants let Saquon Barkley walk because they figured that running backs were generally replaceable. Problem is, Saquon Barkley was probably one of the 3 running backs who are like irreplaceable in this league.
And
so they made a bad read there.
And they sent him to the absolutely like ugliest rivalry for them.
Yeah.
Like, just nobody. It nauseates me. I remember that day very clearly.
John Mara said
it was like a tragedy.
he said on Hard Knocks that year,
I don't want him in Philly.
If he goes to Philly, I will lose sleep.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I lost sleep personally, but I don't know.
I lost a jersey. Either way, outside of all the extensions and stuff, all the stuff going on with the Giants, I also just wanted to bring up the Bears.
Oh my God.
The Bears board of directors voted about 24 hours ago to advance their stadium project in Hammond, Indiana, which
is not
as
as
I understand is a suburb of Chicago technically. It's west of Chicago. Apparently, like, a part of the plan from what I've read is that they're going to try and expand the loop, which is the metro system from Chicago, expand the loop out to Hammond and bring that whole corridor of quote unquote Chicagoans in together, because apparently they have that kind of pull for a bit. I figured people in Indiana would be very generally anti-Chicago, considering it's in Illinois. Yeah. I don't know if Midwestern states have that kind of state-by-state beef, but I know on the East Coast it's that bad.
Yeah.
Like, New Jersey consistently claims half of Ellis Island. Like, every time at least for me, every time it's talked about. If not all of Ellis Island.
In our waters.
I'm pretty sure most of it is, it's in New Jersey territory. I'm not going to lie.
The Statue of Liberty is, right?
Oh, my God.
Maybe. I kind of forget on that.
Grade.
Yeah. But I remember there was serious pride holding that over New York,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's the same between Indiana and Illinois.
Well, at least New Jersey pays for it, I think.
Yes, I think they pay to maintain it. So it is whatever. We pay for
So
like
it's in
everything
your
else that
budget,
happens in
not
New York.
ours.
Yeah, so it's everything else.
Just like these World Cup.
You know, there's
train
only
tickets.
there's only a toll for the George Washington Bridge on the New Jersey side going into New York.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, so guess who pays for the George Washington Bridge? Us.
Darn.
Either way, I feel like that kind of brought us to the end of our NFL segment, but we don't really have time to go to another break, so I think we're just going to roll right into our little game here. Sam Jean-Grande has prepared a little something. It's not quite trivia. It's sort of like self-produced trivia. Like, Sam doesn't have trivia questions for us. It's more of a game. Sam might have a brief explanation for us right now. Sam, what do you got?
I'll try and explain it as quickly as possible for
Yeah.
this. So I'm going to text the three of you each a player. Two of you have the same, one different. And you're going to go kind of in a circle and say a word or a phrase that relates to the player. And after maybe like 3 to 5 words, phrases, you guys guess who it is, who doesn't have the same player as you, who's the imposter, if you will. And whoever gets it right, like whoever ends up winning, can guess what the other people had for an extra little point. So I'm just going to quickly send you guys the names right now. If you guys just want to talk, I quickly send it.
This can go great, or this
Or
can
it
go
could be
very
humiliating.
poorly.
But I'm excited.
I
about it.
love the idea either way. But
It's new. I'll say that. It's new. I thought of it very...
We're workshopping.
It's definitely a workshop. That's the least I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think a lot of good ideas come very randomly.
Yeah, off the cuff.
Yeah, comes
you will.
off the dome, if you will. Once again, it's getting
Oh, boy.
as quickly.
I already thought of a word or phrase, but I feel like it would immediately give it away. So I'm going to try and go a little bit
preloading
more
it?
general.
All right, so all of them should be out now.
I got mine.
Okay. Did Grace and Alex, did you get yours?
Yes.
I did.
Okay, so
All right.
I'm going to randomly pick. Let's start with Tucker.
Okay. So just a word. You said a word or a phrase?
Very short phrase.
Hmm.
Really whatever you want to say. That just doesn't inherently give it away, like saying the team they play for or like a very general description of them.
Okay. Power bat.
I like that. I like it, Tucker. He that's actually like a perfect like word to like get into the game.
Wait, can I ask a question? Are we trying to guess the other person?
We're trying to guess the person who.
Oh, the
well,
imposter.
it depends. If you are the person who is the odd man out, you're trying to guess who that.
You're trying to fit in.
Yes.
Okay,
But
okay.
if you're
I got
you're
you.
not that person, you're
guessing
trying to
who's the-
figure out who is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Tucker gets it. He's
okay.
excited for this.
Yeah, I was very confused for a moment there. I was like, wait. Who's going next? Me? Or
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, why
Tucker
not?
versus
Just go
Alex.
in a
okay,
circle.
fire. My word is steal.
Mine.
Is that can I get a clarification on that? Actually, is that spelled with 2 E's or EAL?
EAL.
Okay, thank you.
This is really gonna make you guys think.
Yeah, I think so.
Humble.
Hmm.
Okay.
Dang. Now I gotta
It's
really.
a mental game. It
I
really
know.
is.
Well, I'm like trying to think it like I'm like trying to toe the line between a complete giveaway and.
Because you don't want to say too much, or
Yeah.
if the other person is an imposter, they now know. But if you are, then you might give yours away.
Mm-hmm. MVP.
It's a good shout.
Grace.
It's also a huge face game. Are they giving stuff away from how they look?
I'm really stressed out. My word is swag.
I see it.
Like strong mental game. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
So do one more, and then you guys
Okay,
go to
wow.
guess.
I'm gonna go. This is a phrase. Cannon for an arm. That's like
Is that allowed?
with hyphens,
This
with
is a
hyphens,
phrase.
with hyphens. So it's basically
I
one
think
word.
I can allow it.
Wait, I'm literally hitting a wall. Hang on. Give me-
Yeah, it's tough.
It is.
It's tough to come up with like on the spot.
Discipline.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a good one.
Respected.
You're just a fountain of these. You're like going so fast.
I was gonna
I'm
say.
like, wait, I need time. Hold
No,
on.
at the same time,
Sorry.
I'm trying to think. I feel like yours and mine were like a lot more concrete and like grounded to the sport, and then Alex's were very like cerebral.
Yeah.
And, like, how does this player work mentally?
This is like a huge mental game right now. Do you like know your friends this well?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess now we're guessing
Yeah,
who is
No,
who
we
they think
spent,
the
we
odd
spent
person is.
6 months apart now.
Okay.
If
I
you
think
just shout
I
at
think
her.
Grace is the odd man out. What is that?
Oh no, well,
Where do we go from
all
there?
three. All three have had to say something.
Oh, we have to. Okay, yeah. So we'll go around the horn again. Grace, I think it's you.
Okay, I think it's Tucker.
Okay.
I think it's Grace.
Bang.
All right. Do you want me to say who it was? So.
Well, I guess
I can say who the odd man out is, but then if whoever's right or wrong gets a guess.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Grace was the imposter.
Ah.
So Tucker and Alex just each get 1 point. Do you guys want to guess who Grace had?
Lindor.
Alex, you want one?
No, he doesn't steal.
Oh my god.
Is that steal like a base or like steal in the draft?
I can't say it.
We can't say till we get the last guess at Alex. Do you have an idea?
I don't know, like Otani.
No.
It's Juan Soto.
It was Juan Soto.
Whoa.
Guys,
Okay.
guys,
I like
guys,
kind of
True.
forgot what you said.
Swag.
Swag.
Otani
Wow.
doesn't have
I'm not
swag.
gonna lie,
I
Grace.
just put the
You.
steal in because Otani steals bags.
I think
It's true.
you kind of sold that round a little bit.
I really did.
Because
I'm
do you want to
terrible.
guess who we had?
Judge.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, obviously, yeah.
But-
I figured that out immediately.
But you see how like.
But you want to fit in to think you had Joe.
I was
the first thing I said. The first thing I said was power bat.
Yeah.
And like Grace totally could have leaned into that. And
I
like
didn't know, what was my first word? Was it slugger? I was thinking about
no
that.
steal.
Oh.
Which
Steal-
instantly that was all holy red flag.
I was like,
wait,
sorry,
I
Judge
did
does
not
not
steal
steal bags.
Steal.
Tucker's getting into everyone's head right
Wait,
now.
Steals
yeah.
occasionally.
I should have said slugger, but I was like, that's the same thing.
All right.
All right, well, we can do one
I think
more.
we have time for one more.
All right, so I'm
If we
sending them
go
all out right now.
2 words, maybe 2 words apiece.
Okay.
maximum.
Depending on how quickly we can do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think
fine.
we'll start with Grace now.
Try and go around the horn nice and quick.
Multi-team.
Versatile. Versatile.
Yeah.
One of them.
However you want to say it.
Workhorse.
Legendary.
Long career.
Big time shot maker. So that's two apiece, right?
I think we have time for to do one
okay.
more.
One more word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
we'll
one,
close it
I think
out.
one more word apiece.
Eternal.
Like global icon.
Interesting.
Tomfoolery.
I think this is such a mental thing. You're all gonna be questioning everyone. All right, Grace. We'll start with you. Who do you think the imposter is?
I think it's Tuck.
I'm the same.
It's Bobby C.
All right. Well, unfortunately, Tucker, it was.
Yeah. Although I had him going after the 2, I think. Maybe the third word is what did me in. Because they were like
Grayson.
legendary, eternal, all time.
Your
and I'm like,
face was so shocked.
what am I supposed to do? Do you guys have a guess for who it was?
What were your words? Tomfoolery and what else?
The first one was workhorse. Second one was big time shot maker. Third one was tomfoolery.
Any idea?
Do you have a guess?
I think Tucker, you try to guess
No.
theirs.
Oh, what, LeBron?
It is
LeBron.
LeBron. It was LeBron. Do you guys
So
want
cool,
to
I
guess
get a
what
point
Tucker
for
had?
that.
You can get one redemption point.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll forfeit my guess.
Wow, somebody was not on TikTok during the 2021 NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler.
It was Jimmy Butler.
Oh, guys, I would not have gotten
All-time
that ever.
tomfoolery.
He is
Come on.
full of tomfoolery.
He is
but-
the tomfoolery guy.
Well, according to some YouTube video I saw at around like 1 a.m, Jimmy Butler's the most similar to LeBron, so that's where I went off of. But
In terms of carrying a team to deep in the finals, yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because we all remember that. Well, actually, that was the bubble finals. That was Heat versus Lakers with the picture of Jimmy Butler hunched over the bench on the side because he literally put his entire body into making sure the Heat had a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really fun.
I
have a
that.
lot more. I have 6 more of these.
Yeah, for as
so
difficult as that was really fun. So I think we definitely have room to grow with that one. But wow, what a show!
What a show!
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, June 6th, 2026. We went through a lot. We got the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. The NBA Finals continues on Monday. We got the World Cup starting on Thursday. We are rolling in the sports season here in June. I am Tucker Austin. Thank you so much to Grace McCarron, Alex Diaz, Sam Jean-Grande on radio production, Faris Amin on video, Bobby Chaffardini, as always, thank you to you. And One on One is a production of WFUV Sports.
Let's go Knicks.